Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. You just crossed him over. Nasty.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Hi, Matt and Josh.
Hello.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing good. Fired up. Derby week. So excited.
Yeah.
Been working up to this, man. It's been a lot of handicapping, a lot of hard work.
Would you like to make a deal?
Okay. All right. Go ahead. What's your deal?
Now, I don't know what the game is. But I couldn't name you even a single horse really in the world right now.
I was literally going to check in to see if you could name a single horse in the Derby.
I couldn't even name a horse that exists.
On the show earlier.
You can't. Wait. You can't.
Barbaro's dead, right?
Barbaro is dead. He died pretty quickly after all of that happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the horse, but we might have another Barbaro on our hand.
No.
Really?
Because there's this horse called Paladin, and he was awesome. Like, he was going to be the favorite. Like, he was going to be the hands down favorite of this race, and he broke his foot a couple of weeks ago.
Sorry, Paladin.
They haven't They haven't, done anything. Like, there's no news on it, but
would there
he broke
be?
his ankle.
That's usually not good.
There would be, because he was going to be the favorite to win the Kentucky Derby. He is better than every single horse that's on.
So here's my suggestion, that if I somehow beat you in a Kentucky Derby game, something has to happen. Something has to happen. I don't know what the game looks like.
I shave my head.
No, but hold on. We got to figure out what the game looks like first.
Ooh. The game is this. We pick
hair versus hair match.
We pick 3 horses, and however many get into the top 5. So let's say you pick 3, I pick 3. Okay. You get 2 in the top 5, I get 1 in the top 5. You win.
All right.
Are you doing this draft style or blind? Or you each pick your 3? And
you can do as much research as you want. I will just look at the names and pick one like I'm a little girl.
Okay. And let's say we both only get 1, or we get 2, right? Whoever's horse finished the highest, whoever has the highest finishing horse.
Can you have the same horses? So is it draft style?
I was gonna go draft style. That way we don't have that way we can for sure.
Now you got to put together a whole draft board.
All right, you just pick your 3, and I'll just go. I'll work with whatever's left.
Okay. Do you want to do this on Friday, or do you want to do this?
I can do it right now. Just give me the names.
That's the benefit of his strategy.
Yeah,
it requires 0 prep.
I would prefer to do it on Friday.
Oh, I thought you said you've been working hard on this.
For an entire
but
year.
I gotta position.
I gotta get the practice times.
Posts are out, right?
I don't know.
You get the practice time.
You gotta see what they're practicing. How they're practicing.
Just give me the names whenever you're comfortable. Just email them to me. I'll send you it back in 10 seconds.
Okay. You want it? I'll send. How about this? I'll send you the names today, and then we can draft tomorrow.
I don't need that much time.
Okay.
You could just tell me the names tomorrow.
What do you think of a horse named the Puma?
Sounds awesome.
That's one of my favorite horses.
Yeah. So, like I said, you just take your favorites. If you get the first 3 picks in this draft, it's a really.
I get the first 3.
What are your favorites if you don't have the times yet?
Well, I mean, we're talking about
lineage.
Wait. We're talking about picking the winner.
This is the point of the game.
So I got to get.
I'm winning already.
No. I have to get the times to know which one is going to win
before the game.
But no, I'm going to win. I am going to win.
So you get the top 3 picks in our 6-pick draft.
Why do I get
Josh? We'll do this for the Preakness.
This is. I'm first off. The Preakness is. I've never won a Preakness before, so this is.
He's bad at the Preakness.
I'm bad at the Preakness.
You're never gonna win the Preakness because you're a man and they race horses.
I've never been able to win the Preakness. I've won the Belmont 3 out of the last 5 years.
Can you not phrase it like that? You don't win the Belmont.
So Josh Peterson one time asked me, out of a 100-point scale, assign points to each team that you're rooting for, right? So what's the most important? So I gave 50 to the Bears, right? And then you give X amount. And I had 3 points left. And I go, This is tough, but I think I would give 1 point to each of the Triple Crown races and just me picking.
Wow, really equal? They all matter equally.
I would probably do 2 points to the Derby, half a point to the Preakness.
There you go.
You know, I just want to say this is setting up for me to get embarrassed here because I am quote unquote Derby guy.
I don't even know what the word setting up needed.
Yeah. I don't think I mean, I don't even know if I really want to do this. I don't think there's anything.
You can say no.
There's nothing for me to prove.
It's everything. Back down now.
It's everything for me to lose. There's nothing for me to prove.
That's
and
fine.
Then what's the punishment? He's gonna shave his beard. I like Connor with a beard.
No, you can do whatever. I mean, we could agree on something.
You could have a lunch bet.
I already lost a
Just remember how much skin each of us have in the game.
I know. Yeah. You have way less. If you lose, you're supposed to lose.
I think we both have none because you've already prepared so much, and you should easily pick the 3 names. And then I will just be left with your scraps.
You are such an ass. You are.
Every word just dripping.
This is no. I decline. I completely decline. I don't need to fight.
No, you can't quit now. People are expecting.
That's okay.
I don't need.
That's all right, Matt. That's fine. That's okay.
Now you're gonna have to deal with this.
This is no. This is like when your bigger brother plays little brother or whatever, and the bigger brother's like, I have everything to lose here. This is a lose-lose situation for me. If I end up winning, then you got the first 3 picks, Matt. Connor didn't even know the horses. You were supposed to win.
You can rub it in as much as you want.
And if I lose, then it's like, what a loser. Like, that's so embarrassing.
But right now he's so far in your head that you're opting not to
Connor's always in my head. He's got a penthouse in my head. All right. It has been established for quite some time at this point. So no, I will politely decline.
All right.
But I was going.
No game.
I was going.
Game has been canceled.
I am very excited.
Rained out. Postponed.
Almost like the Zach Bryan concert. What a time.
What type of bets are you most focused on here? Are you doing exactas, trifectas?
Great
do you
question.
Do the superfecta?
I don't do the superfecta.
Now I'm actually going to look at the post positions.
No, I don't make donations. Okay, it's already hard enough to pick
donations.
It's already hard enough to pick.
How did your NFL draft bets go?
I only made $20 worth of NFL draft bets.
Okay.
One though, Carson hosted.
But were they donations?
Yeah, I wasn't even close.
That's what we were trying to get.
It was Monroe Freeling. Well, because there was some movement on Freeling being taken by the Browns, and I thought, hey, if any team were to make a weird move, it might be the Browns. Which they had a great draft.
The Jaguars the entire week.
So that and the Niners had another just really weird draft. They had a beat reporter ask him like, why do you reach so much?
John Lynch to his face at a post-draft press conference.
It's like, why are you always reaching?
What's your deal?
Yeah.
Well, they did take that Indiana running back who some people didn't even have as like draft worthy.
The Roman Hemby?
No, not Hemby.
Oh, the other one.
Kalen Black.
Yeah.
Where did
Hemby go?
Round.
Where did Hemby go?
I don't recall. He didn't.
Yeah, I'm going.
He didn't go in the top 5 rounds.
So this one, because it's a fairly open field in terms of the Derby, probably gonna go more just pick the winner and put a pretty big amount of money on 2 horses, 3 horses to win. Like heading if that one horse who was awesome didn't get hurt, I probably would have done something called wheeling. So wheeling is where you put that horse in a bunch of exactas, and then you just try and be like, all right, but you don't box them.
It's a pivot bet.
Yeah, you don't box them.
Pivot off of the same bet or the same team for like 5.
But I probably wouldn't.
Also known as a Bill Simmons.
I wouldn't bet Paladin to win though, because it's like you're not going to make a whole lot of money off of that. But I would have just done a bunch of exactas, no boxes.
Bill Simmons loves teasers. You can do round robin teasers. All these sorts.
You were the first person I know that was doing round robin teasers.
I love teasers. What's a round robin teaser?
So is it a round robin parlay? Maybe that's what it was.
You can do either
round robin teaser parlay.
You can't do a teaser and a no, you can't. It would be a teaser parlay. I guess. I mean, I guess that'd be the technical definition of it. Yes, you could do that. Round robin is just where you can you bet it so many times that you could lose one of the games and still win.
Oh, okay.
Because you're doing
So you
that during the
like if you have a
NFL slate.
3-teamer, you do all the different permutations of it,
Sure.
and
Nice.
then you could lose
Yeah.
one game and still win.
And it'd be fine.
But you have to do it with the right amount of teams and
Well,
the right amount of money.
We'll have to talk about that. I need to add that to my repertoire.
Ask Bill.
Yeah. I don't know. I never heard BS do that.
I guess, yeah, maybe he's not doing round robins. He's doing teasers.
I think
Yeah,
it's
you
just
were the
straight-
one doing
He's
round
doing
robins.
teaser town.
This
Yeah.
was a big. This is back.
Sounds
in
like
the
I like
Lincoln
them. I like the math from you there. That's good math. I
He'd
like
come
it.
in on Fridays and talk about his round robin selections, and then he'd come in on Monday and he'd either won or he didn't.
Yeah. I've been betting way too much on NASCAR, but I finally won yesterday, so it's like, I'm gonna leave it now.
The thing that I learned from my round robining days was that as much as you feel like in your head you always lose parlays by one leg,
Yeah.
that's not true. That's actually not true. You lose parlays by multiple legs often.
Yeah, all the time. I don't do parlays.
Is this
anymore.
like when your brain tells you you're always losing on the hook? But you're really
Yeah,
not
no, you're
losing
not.
on the
No,
hook.
No.
I
You just would have had that it would have. No,
I don't do
you missed it by a long shot.
I don't do parlays anymore. Very rarely. Like I used to be. I never was like a 5-leg. Everyone's got that friend who loves putting together like the 7-leg parlays.
I have a friend
Never
who
did
goes
that.
to Vegas and bets $2 on 8-leg parlays
Yeah.
and chooses all favorites. Nobody
Yeah.
understands what he's doing.
That sounds terrible. That sounds like an awful way to live.
Awesome.
Oh,
That sounds. That
It's
just
his,
sounds.
it's his bit for sure. He'll come up to you and be like, "I've got this ticket," and you
Yeah.
look at it and you stare at it for a long time, and you kind of just want to throw it away and
Yeah.
give him $5.
Yeah. No. It's that. That sounds.
That's what you should do. It's just like, I will give you $5.
I'll buy this off you.
Making these bets.
Yes.
No, I'm almost off doing money line bets. You know, I'm almost just all straight spreads at this point, just because it's like I can't.
That's why you got to go to Teaser Town.
I can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. I'm in a rut right now.
Oh, no.
I'm in a. It's tough. It's tough.
On Derby week.
Daddy needs a dub.
Daddy needs a big dub. Daddy needs a very, very big dub.
You were just talking about how you don't donate money, and now you're talking about how you're just.
Well, I don't donate money on the superfectas. It's hard enough for
Sounds
me
like
to.
you're donating money all over town.
I'm a terrible gambler. I'm just bad. I'm bad, and I like to.
We
do
really
it.
get mixed signals on
But he
this.
loves
yeah.
it.
I love it, but
He
I'm
loves
bad
it.
at it. You know, it's like flirting at a bar. You know,
Oh,
It's kind of
that's
the
why I
same deal.
figured that you'd be in good shape for the Derby to be able to win that game that I proposed. But I guess not.
it's all for me to lose. It's all for like all of.
It could be unless you win.
Yeah, but then who cares?
Yeah, what
and
if
then
you
it's
won?
like you got the first 3 picks, and Connor literally was like, "Oh, incredible! That's a cool name."
You get to tell me to
show
do something.
off your Derby knowledge is
It's
better than.
called on Friday. I got to go to the casino today and pick up the sheet.
Big board.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the post times like right now. I mean, or the post not times.
no, but
post
you got to
positions.
buy. No, you got to buy the pamphlet.
You don't have.
Yes, you do.
They'll tell you which gate each horse is starting.
No. I'm talking about the details on each horse. You get the pamphlet and it tells you.
Yeah, I
all
know.
of I got to read that. You got to read the race card. I also have
How
my.
often have you been to live racing?
Whoa, as an adult once, as a kid, quite.
You were coming with me to Columbus this summer.
I would love
we'll
it.
Go to.
I would
we'll
love
go to
that.
some live racing.
I grew up.
I can watch your entire system play out as you read the sheet that they give you for free. By the
Yeah.
way.
Well,
You don't have to pay for this one.
and
you'll
really, you don't
find
have
out-
to pay for it.
Yeah, you'll
That's
find
sick.
out, how they did
Donkeys
in all
are
of their
racing.
races. You can tell me what the little descriptions of each race.
Yeah, sure.
You can
I would
read
love to.
those.
I
And then we'll go to a taco truck because
we-
that's what I do.
we went to
Good
Horse
system.
racing and taco.
Yeah,
trucks.
now that's a system.
we went to Arlington Park a lot growing up. Because we were about
Home of the
half-
Bears.
home of hopefully home of the Bears, home of the Ham Bears, hopefully. So
They
before
would
they
be the Ham Bears.
the Arlington Bears,
They'd have to
So-
rename them the Horses.
No, they wouldn't. They would not name them the,
The
horses.
Chicago
Wow.
Horses.
The Hallis horses.
I love it.
I would love that actually.
And you could call like all the collection of players that Ben Johnson's putting together on offense as the stable.
The stable.
The stable.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
And we can start referring to Caleb Williams as the jockey.
Yeah.
Your dad would say take any
Claypool.
person out back and
Yeah.
Barbaro.
Send
We
him
got
to
a
the
Barbara
glue
Road.
factory.
My dad wouldn't call a guy. He was like, he's not a glue guy. He's a guy who should be glue.
There you go. Nice. That's really good.
You're telling me you wouldn't be somewhat interested in this?
Just imagine that big horse on the helmet.
My dad dropped a whole paragraph in the sport group chat this weekend, and I didn't even read it. But
Was it about the draft?
There was a lot of things going on. I believe it was about the draft. I don't know if he dropped a Claypool reference. Oh yeah. Look at this. He dropped a full breakdown in our group chat. He's like, I love the Bears' 3rd round draft pick of Sam Roush, who's a tight end out of Stanford. He's got a huge build and is a tremendous blocker. Gave me the whole scouting report.
Sounds like Kuiper.
He goes, Ben Johnson is building an arsenal on the offensive side. That guy loves to draft offensive players. I don't think he understands that there's another side of the ball that we're going to have to
They took
address.
a safety with the first.
Yeah, but then we needed a
round.
D-line. We needed some more D-linemen. He just did not take him. And then they reached big time on that wide receiver from LSU, but he might end up being pretty good. Fast guy.
The Vikings filled their IR spot.
I like their pick. I liked what
That
the
was
Vikings
great.
did. I love Caleb Banks. I wouldn't have minded if the Bears took him at 25. I would have very much enjoyed it.
Bears
Yes.
got a nice D
Good
tackle.
choice.
Don't you worry, man.
Yeah.
I heard the
best
Panthers got
tackle.
Haynes King.
Oh,
Really?
Good
I
pick.
didn't know
Speaking
that.
of the Panthers,
I got a tweet from Black Cat over the weekend, and it said that.
Did he sign as an undrafted free agent?
I think I don't know. Great question.
I will look it up for you.
He may have gotten drafted.
This
I'm
information can be found on.
I'm wearing my Panthers pants today.
Let's go.
I know. It was a rainy day. I was like, oh, Panthers pants.
Panthers Pants Day. I can't remember what the tweet said.
UDFA.
Perfect. This is huge. This is huge.
Where do you want him to go?
Do you
I
think
wanna
Jeep
go to
made
Carolina.
a 12-minute video talking about Haynes King?
Yes.
Pavia got picked up by the Ravens. That'll be fun.
He's not going to go much further than that.
You'll see him at a local Joe's Crab Shack in about 6 weeks.
No, he's just gonna pop up randomly. He might, you know what?
He's going to.
We all
to
thought
Hamilton?
the CFL was I thought the CFL was a little too distinguished for him. Schaefer wants him to,
UFL MVP.
yeah.
In 5 years, Diego Pavia will be in a boxing match. He will be boxing.
I
Which
like that.
Paul, brother?
He will. I don't know.
Cachet will be gone though. There's not enough, like you could put Johnny Manziel in it, but not Diego Pavia.
He'll fight Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson will make his return and fight Pavia.
Whoa.
That is my prediction. In 5 years on Netflix, Diego Pavia will be, and some little kid be like, "Who's that?" And you'll be like, "That was a really good quarterback for Vanderbilt." at one
Nate
point."
Robinson,
It's fine.
currently 41.
Who
I'm not
can-
saying it
who
can't.
do we- who
but-
should-
Maybe he'll
Diego-
just be the new Jake Paul.
You know what? He should fight Floyd Mayweather. Like that would Pavia versus Mayweather. Pavia versus like a 60-year-old Mayweather.
Make the
however old
poster.
he is. That'd be great. Isn't Mayweather? Oh, he's fighting Pacquiao. God.
Again?
Yeah, they're fighting again.
There's so many, like when I was at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, there was just nonstop posters of Pacquiao and Mayweather in there.
Sure.
I was like, what
from
is going on? How
the-
many of these fights have there been?
The quintessential overhyped, disappointing fight, Pacquiao Mayweather.
Yeah.
That was the king.
They didn't even punch each other for
No.
the entire time. Like we're talking about the first one too.
the first one.
Yeah.
And it's also too the best action was when Pacquiao was like hitting him on the shoulders. Like he was hitting on the shoulders and Floyd wasn't
Ouch.
selling it. He was just like, no, I'm not hurt. It sucked. That sucked. We got a pizza that night. We got a bunch of Italian beefs that night.
Oh,
Had a bunch
that
of
sounds
people
nice.
over. We were so like my
You gotta want a
dad.
$75 beef location.
At that point, there was like 13 Al's Beefs
Mm.
locations. We're now down to 6.
They've contracted.
They closed the one by my house. I used to have a Al's Beef right by my house, and now it's a teriyaki place, which is just like,
Oh, I remember this. And
This
then
is-
people were worried that you were insulting teriyaki.
no, I'm not insulting teriyaki.
Samurai
but
Sam's.
I would no. It's just K. It was just called K teriyaki or whatever.
You
That
probably
place
were.
doesn't exist anymore.
You were probably post Samurai Sam's era.
Yeah.
At Nebraska.
I've never heard of.
now it's
Samurai
just a
Sam.
gas station.
Wow.
What was Samurai Sam?
There's this little teriyaki bowl place
Yeah.
connected to the U stop.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Over by Anderson.
Yep.
Over by there.
Yep.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Yep.
I would have loved it.
That
People
place
would
rocked.
flock over there. Just
Really?
yeah.
That sounds like a really great bar. The bar. I'm hungry. Let me go to Samurai Sam's spot.
It wasn't like a super late night place.
No.
Okay.
But it was just like a lunch
You'd
spot.
see it like an
Yeah.
early evening or late afternoon.
Yeah.
crowd of people.
That sounds like a place I would have hit up a lot. I love just any place that is like bowls are our thing. I'm in on. Like any's like, hey, we are a bowl place. Like what you're
Would
reading.
you choose a bowl over a burrito?
Yes, any day of the week. Poke bowl, love it.
Don't want the tortilla.
I don't know. I think I've convinced myself that it's healthier. It probably is healthier, but I'm like
mildly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 300 less calories without the
Yeah.
tortilla.
Yeah. But I mean,
everything else is the same.
Chipotle is as healthy as you make it, But same thing with like the Hawaiian Bros over there on 120th and Dodge.
Yes,
like that's
formerly known as Boston Market.
Oh, that was a Boston Market.
It was.
What's are they still around?
Not here.
All the Boston Markets have turned into other things now.
I didn't know that Boston Market used to be Boston Rotisserie Company or something like that first.
Now, Boston, I've eaten Boston Market growing up, but I can't remember if I ever stepped inside because I was a kid and my mom would just pick it up or my dad would just pick it up. But was Boston Market, because we would just have the chicken and the mashed potatoes and everything like that. Was it like Thanksgiving year round? Was kind of the deal with Boston Market?
It's like just rotisserie chickens.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
You could also get like deli style sandwiches.
Oh, all right. Yeah, we just always got
I only
the
went
chicken and
once.
mash.
It didn't seem like anything I needed to go back for.
Sure.
keep wondering what they're gonna do over there. They keep almost doing stuff in that place for.
It feels like okay,
And
we're
that
down to
little mall
Revival
area?
Hills right there?
Yeah.
Well, there used to be a big grocery store that we would go to all the time, Cup Foods. And then there was like 7 other storefronts that were in that little strip mall right there. And now there's nothing.
It's just the Funny Bone.
It's just gone.
Yeah,
Just gone.
at golf too. But I went to Cubby's for the first time in my Omaha.
Oh,
life.
nice.
I've never been there.
I heard they took the the fuel pumps out. Is this true?
Yeah, no fuel pumps over there. Just walked on
Unbelievable.
up.
What happened? They just
I don't know.
they ditched it. They just were making enough money on gas.
I'm novice to Cubby's. I just walked in. I was like, I wanted to pick up a 6-pack.
Well, now it's a full blown grocery store.
It is big.
Yeah,
It's a big grocery.
What are you guys talking about?
Cubby's at like 16th and Howard Jackson.
I
Something
went
like
downtown for the first time ever.
that.
Oh, how was
That's
it?
right.
How was it?
It was really nice.
Yeah.
That mall area is great. Hudson liked the playground. We saw some art.
The mall area.
The Gene
Gene
Leahy
Leahy
Mall.
Mall.
Okay.
It's the grass with the concert overhang.
Oh,
thing.
okay. That's
You do the slides?
He likes slides.
That's what
He
they
likes
call
to
it.
climb up the slides.
It's not like
and then he gets
it's not like
scared
a-
and won't go down the slides.
Okay.
So he didn't do any of the like big ones. He
Sure.
did a couple of the small ones.
Hey,
Matt is struggling with mall
It ain't-
versus mall.
It ain't. Is it like MAUL?
No, it's spelled the same.
But it's not a mall.
It's not a shopping mall.
Were you
It's-
unfamiliar in Lincoln with the Centennial Mall, which is that stretch of leading up to the state capitol?
Yeah, that's a no. I
That's a mall.
walked. No, it's not.
You're talking about shopping malls.
Are you familiar with the National Mall in Washington, D.C.?
Yes.
Like the monument.
Yeah, it's on the mall. It's on the mall.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
monuments are in the mall.
I'm okay, dumbass. I didn't know there
That makes
are
sense.
multiple types of malls. You go mall. I just go. Where's the Express for Men that closed down? That's what I say. Like
Not that kind of mall.
Different mall. That's
I didn't.
a shopping
I didn't
mall.
know, but I didn't know there were different types of. Like I was thinking Darth Mall.
Nobody calls shopping malls shopping
Different
malls.
mall altogether.
No one. No, they just call it a mall.
That's it.
I'm going over to the mall.
No, I'm saying Dark Mall is
Yeah,
a different
that's a different mall.
Well, that's a Sith. Yeah, that's
MAUL.
a Sith Lord. Yeah.
Didn't need that much detail. It's just
Well, he's
different.
got a new show on Disney
Does
Plus.
he?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
I'm watching. Great first episode.
That's
He's back.
exciting.
I'm kind of. I watched Reservoir Dogs yesterday, and then
You watched the whole movie?
I watched the whole movie.
In one
Wow,
sitting?
nice job. You should have led
One-
with that.
one sitting.
Why did we take until 10:18?
I was gonna save it for Josh and I. We
Oh,
were
okay.
gonna-
We don't
yeah.
want to blow your
No,
topics.
let
I
everyone.
got one question.
Me
though.
over here, if you could watch one movie off this list, it should be Reservoir Dogs. I'm saving this for Josh.
Well, one
I thought
question.
we were friends.
I was in the way from the back. One question though. Am I supposed to know whether or not he got killed at the very end? Because he's in the little unit, right? Like they're in the main setting, and then it zooms in on Mr. White, and he's got the gun to the head of the guy of Mr. Orange or whatever. And he's got him there. They zoom in on Mr. White, and then you hear 2 gunshots, but it's not very clear which gunshot's coming from what. Is it? Am I an idiot here? Is it for sure that the cop got killed at the end of the movie?
My assumption is always that the cop got killed.
Okay. I had to rewind it and watch the end of the movie again to be like, is it clear and obvious that the 2 gunshots were for the cop and not for White, about to kill the guy?
Yeah, I actually never even really thought about it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a good movie.
You're going to love Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, so
you're going to be really wondering what's inside that briefcase.
There was so 7 is next.
Oh, okay.
7 is the next movie.
Okay.
Now keep in mind, young Matt here has never watched a horror movie.
Is 7 a?
It is not.
Dan, my roommate, was very taken aback. Dan loves movies. He read your list and he goes, "Wow, Josh really likes a thriller." Because he was like, "There's a lot of
he likes not drama."
He's like, "There's a lot of thrillers on here,
action thrillers."
I mean, it's probably the best type of movie.
There's a guy that I follow on Instagram who's like, his deal is like parroting movies and stuff like that. And he was like, every Tarantino movie is like this. And it was just like 2 guys quoting pop culture stuff and like critiquing it. And I'm like, oh, he got it from Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah. What is your stance on tipping?
I was going to say, that's the biggest thing to come out of that.
No.
I used to think one thing and now I'm more like Steve Buscemi every day.
If I'm standing, I don't tip.
If you're standing.
If I'm standing, I don't tip. Unless I'm at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm at a bar, obviously you tip at a bar.
So you're not standing in a drive-through.
Okay, but I don't get asked to tip.
Sometimes you do.
Yeah, I would say no.
If you're getting like a coffee.
If I'm at Subway, not tipping. If I'm at Chipotle, not tipping. If I'm at any sort of like you call drive-through, if I'm at fast food and I'm standing, not tipping. No.
If you're ordering at the counter and then picking up your own food and they swivel the screen around, are you tipping?
Ooh,
you are standing, and you are driving theoretically to get your food.
Restaurant. This is a restaurant.
Yeah,
this is like a diner.
Yeah,
I'm probably tipping.
It doesn't have to be a diner. It can just be like a place that you went and got lunch.
If I'm
no one's serving you.
It depends on the mood. If I'm in a good mood today.
What about a stadium?
No, I'm not tipping at a stadium. I'm not.
What about
Pinnacle Bank Arena? You're never tipping.
No, I mean,
so what's the difference at Pinnacle Bank Arena and what I just described?
Okay,
what if it's rounding up for NIL?
No, and over to you. If I'm getting a Jack and Coke, right, and the waitress is there, and
you
at
are
the
ordering
bar,
a sandwich.
Yeah, no, I'm not tipping.
Okay, all right. That's what I'm trying to get.
I'm not tipping.
I'm thinking of very specific places, and I'm not saying.
See, restaurant is tough. If I'm picking up at a restaurant, that's hindering because I'm like restaurant industry, big off of tipping. If I'm doing anything at a restaurant, I'm thinking tip.
But there are no servers.
But I agree. No, I know. I agree with you. So in my case in point, with my principles, I could not tip and be like I'm following my rules.
You shouldn't if you're adhering to your own principles.
What about DoorDash?
I do tip because they are picking it up and they are driving.
What percentage do you tip?
What I feel comfortable with, what I think is appropriate.
What do you tip?
On what?
On DoorDash.
Oh, I don't do that, but most of the time.
If you ever get delivery,
depends on how big of an order it is, but I'll usually go to the dollars and just type in my own custom amount.
I do custom amount.
Yeah. Right,
there's no percentage.
It's $5.
It gives you a recommended.
I'm big on a $3 to $5 tip, depending on. Obviously, if there's a lot.
What about
more,
Ubers?
I do a $2 tip on every ride I've ever taken.
Pretty much me too.
I don't.
So I use Lyft for the longest time because they let you tip, and so I would always do $2 there. So then once Uber started doing it,
there was a long time where Uber wouldn't let you tip.
Right,
yeah.
They're big
in
thing.
the early days.
The guy who invented Uber, he didn't want that. He wanted a service where you just paid the money. He didn't like the tipping with cabs. It's Travis Kalanick or whatever his name.
I don't tip for Uber unless the Uber asks for it or unless they make give me if they're ever give me a 5-star or anything like that. I'm like, all right, I'll make sure you get a 5-star
and a tip.
So I think I've given every ride I've ever taken a 5-star, whether I believed it.
I have given
it's 5-star,
one
$2. I close out the screen and never think about it again.
I've given one 3-star before because I was just upset with just everything about the ride.
Sometimes you get the email later on and it says your afternoon ride with, whatever the person's
Derek.
name is, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I remember that. Wow, it cost that much money.
Yeah, that's usually what it
That
is.
Doesn't
sucked.
seem worth
Yeah.
it.
That sucked.
I do Uber
Those are
and
nice
Lyft.
for receipt purposes, by the way.
I do Uber and Lyft, so I pit the markets together, and I have them compete against one another.
What do you use more?
crazy.
Lyft.
Same.
Yeah. Typically cheaper. That's the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Boys, it was fun. Middays Matt coming up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network, 1620 here in Omaha, 97.7 The Zone over in Central Nebraska. Matt McMaster, as always, joined by Josh Odson here after a fun loaded weekend of sports. We're going to talk a lot. We're going to talk a lot of different sports today. We're going to be talking football. We're going to be talking baseball. We're going to be talking about softball. We're going to be talking a little bit about NASCAR because some big things in our segment where we do it for ourselves. You know, that'll be the one. But a fun weekend occurred across the country. Fun weekend over in Lincoln. Went to the Zach Bryan concert. I will say this.
What time did you give up?
I went. I got there. Walked in. Didn't give up. I stayed the night. You know, I had a pretty good setup with staying with a buddy. So we're like, all right, if they play, we're gonna watch it. Not seeing Kings of Leon, kind of a bummer. Was looking forward to Kings of Leon, looking forward to hearing their set. It's a shame. It happens. Zach Bryan doesn't control the weather. If he did, I don't think he would have made it as bad of a night as it ended up being. It was kind of weird because I think heading into the week, people were like, all right, like it's going to be cloudy, like it's going to be potential storm weather. And then it was like, all right, it's going to be cold, like make sure to dress warm. And then it just turned into, oh no, like this is a thunderstorm and rain coming down really hard. And then also too, the concert got delayed because of lightning on the front end, but then it went so long to the point that there was another thunderstorm coming on the back end. And so they had to cut it short. So not only did they have to delay it, they had to cut the set about 6 songs short is what Zach Bryan said. But it was a great time. That guy can perform, man. He's a really, really good performer.
And then he called a woman a Karen.
And you know, that's why I very much enjoy that guy's music. Let's put it that way. I very much enjoy that guy's music. Whole lot else, you know, not the biggest fan of. But he makes some great songs and he performs his butt off. Also, too, him calling somebody a Karen and then getting into a fight with people like on Twitter, he didn't have to do that. Like nobody really was complaining all that much about it. Like nobody was walking out of the stadium being like, damn, that sucked. Like everyone was walking out of the stadium being like, hell yeah, like I'm glad we got it in. We had a great time, you know?
Oh, okay.
Like there wasn't any sort of disappointment walking out of the stadium. Like they played Revival for like 10, 12 minutes at the end and it was raining.
I've seen the video quite literally everywhere.
And it was great. It was an awesome moment. Honestly, if you told me, hey, we cut the set short by 6 songs, I mean, he still played for like an hour and 45 minutes, almost 2 hours. So it was a full concert. But yeah, I mean, he once again, he just, I don't know why he had to cause that problem on Twitter, but still a fun time. I stepped up. I got to a bar very early for like when the concert was originally supposed to start.
Okay.
And I got a table. And we had a lot of people, and we just sat at that table for hours, and we were just getting drinks and having a great time.
And you tipped?
Yes. Tipped heavily. Sure. The staff over there at McKinney's, absolutely awesome. Definitely, that's like our friend group spot, you know? Like that's like every true friend group, you have a bar. Hey, that's our bar. We went to our bar. We got a table. We had a great time. But it was fun. It was once again. Not seeing Kings of Leon. I mean, there were people who were there for that concert just to see the opener of Kings of Leon. That's how you know you got a great opener. Where people and also too, that is the real way to like. If you want to act like an aristocrat in front of your friends, like if you want to act like you're interesting,
I do.
Right? You got to be the guy that goes, "Well, I'm here for the opener." You know. Yeah, I like the main act. Like I know his songs, but the opener, have you seen him before? Have you seen him before? Man, he's got you don't know. You know some of their songs. No, they're a great band.
What do they get into Sex on Fire?
Yeah,
You'll know it.
You'll know it. Like you know a lot of their songs. Like, it's going to be a great set. I actually saw them play over at a bar in Tribeca back in 2014.
It's just a
I went
little
there.
club show.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know they were going to be there. They just like, I guess the owner of the bar is like boys with the lead singer, and it was awesome. And then they were over at a festival because I'm from Minnesota, and they have Summerfest over there. So I went to that, and it was sick. Kings of Leon's awesome, but Zach Bryan's fine. That's how you try it. Like anybody trying to be cool, that's what they promote. But great concert over there. Great weekend of sports. Emmett Johnson,
EJ.
Is there a record? Do we have a counting record of the most jerseys sold by a 5th round pick right after a draft? Like, is that something that we can equate? Does that stat exist? Is my first question.
Oh, wow.
And if that stat does exist, he's going to break it. The Kansas City Chief, Emmett Johnson, shout out an incredible tweet that I saw. It's the 3rd year in a row he's going to be playing with Patrick Mahomes. So
good tweet.
Ends up going to a really good spot. Going to be behind Kenneth Walker, but him and Kenneth Walker do very different things when it comes to how they run the football.
Okay, I Googled it.
Oh, is there a stat?
Google AI has spit out an answer. Is
Okay.
it the real answer? I don't know. It's Google AI. Let's just have some fun with it.
Give it to me.
Shador Sanders
Oh,
holds the
God.
record for the most jerseys sold by a 5th round draft pick. He was the top selling rookie jersey following the 2025 draft and ranked top 5 in overall NFL jersey sales between March and July of 2025.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if I don't know if we got the machine behind EJ, like the machine was behind Shador there. But really good spot for EJ. Falls into an awesome offense. Obviously going to be catching the ball from a great quarterback and then running behind a really good running back in Kenneth Walker. You know, we've seen this trend now for a couple of years where and look, it's always existed. Don't get me wrong. It's always been a thing. But now you're really seeing teams emphasize having 2 running backs, really emphasize having almost like 2 number 1 options. Seattle was doing it with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. You have what you have in Detroit with Gibbs and Montgomery. And then you go ahead and I think the LA Rams, part of their really late season success and surge, I think came from the fact that Blake Corum started to really come in his own and develop into that running back that we saw that was so electric in Michigan. He was able to do that at the NFL level. And being with Kyron Williams, who obviously, definitely one of the upper tier running backs in the league. I think Emmett falls into a great situation, a really good offense. I think the fact that you just have such an incredible offensive mind and Andy Reid there, right? Where, if a guy it was almost like back in the day when the Patriots dynasty was rolling, when you got drafted by the Patriots, it was like, oh, that's a big deal. The fact they see something in you, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy got drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays in baseball, and it was like, whoa, if Brian gave, if Brian's,
they got plans for you.
Dude, his analytics must be crazy if the Rays are going ahead and taking him. Right. And so, the Chiefs, at least from an offensive perspective, and honestly, if you're like a defensive back taken from the Chiefs too, because they've had so much success drafting those types of guys, you're like, hey, that's, they have something for you. So, Kansas City picking up BJ. I think it's a great pick for KC. KC had a great draft overall. Obviously the engine of the Kansas City dynasty has been Patrick Mahomes. It's been just his dominance, and that offense is definitely molded into and evolved into different things since guys have come through, especially Tyreek Hill getting traded to Miami. But if Patrick Mahomes is the engine, I would argue that the defense of Kansas City is like the tires, right? I mean, and especially in the last 2 times they went to the Super Bowl, I mean, they relied heavily on that elite defense. They were the only team in the NFL to use their first 4 draft picks on defense. They picked up some really good defensive players, and then they got a steal in EJ. I mean, EJ went from a guy who, look, if EJ was taken in day 2, depending on where he was going to pick, there were going to be some people who would say, oh, that's a reach. But I think the argument for Emmett going in the second or third round was always, well, what if a team falls in love with him? What if a team falls in love with his versatility? I think just unfortunately, I think part of the reason him slipping to the fifth round is, there's the scouts and the inconsistency in pass blocking, but also just, he just does not have that home run breakaway speed in the NFL. He doesn't have that 4.3, that 4.35, that low 4.4. And, I can understand from a scout perspective of maybe the hesitancy of taking a running back who's, best ability is breaking tackles and avoiding tackles, because maybe that you're a little nervous that won't fully translate to the next level. I can see those arguments, but it's just like, man, turn on the tape and it doesn't matter that he's not the fastest guy on the planet, that he doesn't have this, insane track speed. I mean, just his shiftiness, his agility, he's got a very rare ability to make dudes miss in a phone booth. And I think the biggest thing with Emmett is that, like, if we're talking about projections, this isn't a guy that just had all of God's gifts and stepped onto the field and was given the ball and ran all over the place. This is a dude who has developed. This is a very smart guy who has taken the steps to get better year in and year out and took to coaching big time. What I think that if you look at game 1 against Cincinnati, it's not like we gave Emmett the ball, Nebraska gave Emmett the ball and you're like, holy crap, he's gotten way better over the offseason. That's not really was at all. They gave him the ball a lot. That was the story. Oh my God, they've given Emmett the ball a ton against the Bearcats, but it wasn't like he was running up and down Arrowhead Stadium. It was, okay, hey, he looks good. It was really until he took that the bye week after Michigan, and then that Michigan State game, he just looked faster. He looked twitchier. He looked more confident. He had some problems in that first game against Cincy where it seemed like he was a little he was dancing a little bit in the hole. He wasn't shooting the gap. And after that Michigan game, whether it be him and whether it be EJ, and it's them both, he just started taking. He just started taking what the defense was giving him, being more decisive, being more explosive. And then, when he gets to the second level and to the third level, started making guys miss. And so, I thought EJ, especially with what he can do in the pass game, was a real candidate to go in day 2. Didn't work out. Hey, Kansas City gets a steal in the 5th round, an absolute steal in the 5th round. And on top of that, it's nice to get drafted high. It's nice to make more money. It's nice to have a better contract, but it's way more about who you get drafted to and not necessarily where you get drafted, right? It's great to get drafted high. It's better to get drafted to the right situation. And EJ got drafted to a really, really good situation where he's going to be in an offense with a great quarterback and a really, really good running back who, man, Kenneth Walker, I don't think it could be stated enough. His last 7 games of the year, I mean, that run game, man. And I said it early on in the season too, watching the Seahawks. I go, they got the pass game and they got that defense. If they can get that run game going, they could make a run to the Super Bowl. And that's exactly what they did. And very sneaky storyline that I think if you're a non-Kansas City fan or if you're a non-NFC West fan, you got to be reminded about. Eric Bieniemy back to Kansas City, back to being their coordinator. So, I think that offense is going to be better. It just depends on when does Patrick start playing and how does he look. And I don't think there's a whole lot of doubt that in the long term he'll be back to being what he is. But in the short term, it'll be interesting to see, is he hot right out the box? Is he ready to go? Or is it going to take some time for this Chiefs team to get things going? That's going to be when we get closer to the NFL season. That'll be a very interesting breakdown we do on the Chiefs and what to expect of them from this year. Because they had a very weird season last year and they lost a lot of the games that you were so used to them winning, right? So used to them, winning those 1-score games and just last year, they just could not get that done. Will the improvements they made on the defensive side, along with what they've done on the offensive side through free agency, get them back to being contenders in the AFC? We'll continue to talk about contenders on this show today. Nebraska Softball was lucky enough to go to the Friday game over at Bowling Stadium, where it was a very competitive softball. It wasn't the run rule that happened the next day. It was went to the second game of the doubleheader, which was, was standing in the press box and I was talking to some people. I go, do you think it's going to be a record today? And they're like, yeah, it's going to be close. Like, we'll see what happens. And they go, hey, we did it. We got the attendance record. I was like, wow, man, I was here. I was here for the attendance record of Nebraska softball.
You were a part of history.
I was a part of history until the next day. I see the tweet, new record, new attendance record. They broke it the next day. Less than 24 hours later, they ended up breaking the record. So Nebraska softball, major contenders, of course, to win it all, to win the national championship in college softball. We'll talk about Jordy Frahm. We'll talk about Rhonda Revelle. Is this lightning in the bottle, or can they keep this going? Like, is this going to be remembered as, man, they went on one hell of a run, when they were able to get Jordy and when she was able to transfer and all the other pieces that they added? Or is this going to be, could this turn into a thing where, no, Nebraska softball for the foreseeable future could be a power? And I think it depends on a couple of things. And we'll talk about that in detail throughout the show. Also talk about the stadium project. Went ahead and Troy Dannon, along with Jeff Gold, went ahead and talked about a stadium project, the Big Red rebuild. I know you don't like renderings, Josh.
I do not, famously.
But did you see the video they sent out of what West Stadium and what South Stadium is going to look like? Did you see
did a person make this video?
I believe
did AI make this
video?
So
there's a lot of rumors that AI made the renderings.
Clearly, AI made the renderings.
I asked around, and they were like, "No, it was a different company who makes that stuff."
Then fire that company and shame them publicly. Because they used AI to make the photos.
I was texting people like, "Was this an AI thing?" And they're like, "No, someone else did." I'm like, all right, whatever. That's what they said. I don't know if could be not true. Could be totally AI. Who knows? But
they know you're on to them.
But I'll say this: the video. You should watch the video.
Okay, the video's better.
It's hot.
It's hot. They're not doing anything spectacular. This is all structural.
But West Stadium, they're doing some things. They're doing some things in West Stadium too, and they're renovating that and they're making that look better.
Great.
Looks good.
I'm for this. I want to be clear about this.
It looks good.
This is much needed, long overdue.
It looks more open. It looks spacier.
Okay.
It just looks more modern. I mean, the entire thing just looks better. I don't know how to describe it other than it just looks better. It just looks nicer. It looks like what stadiums are looking like.
Okay,
nowadays.
this is good.
And it's one of those, I'm full support of them doing this. They needed to take their time. They needed to make sure they got the things that they got done. But the video is cool. You should watch the video. It's pretty dope. So
for you, I will.
Thank you. A lot of things that you do for me. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I like giving me great movies. We watch Reservoir Dogs. Pretty damn good. Not great, but good.
Not great.
We'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk. So we got the draft. Just overall, we'll talk about the NFL draft and teams that I liked and teams that I didn't like. We'll talk about Jordy and softball. We'll talk about the stadium project. Got a special guest, 12:30, Marty Cordero from the Omaha Storm Chasers, going to come in and preview what the promotions are looking like at Warner Park this month. This is going to be a new string of things that we'll be doing with Marty and the Storm Chasers. We're going to have Marty come in once a month to kind of preview, hey, what you can look forward to at Warner Park, and we'll have some of the promotions here. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like if you're on the Zone YouTube TV channel. We'll have Robin Washut come in at 1:20 as well. We'll talk about some other sports. Some NASCAR things happen that I actually think is there's a broader conversation to be had about it. Don't forget, if you want to get in on the action today, 402-951-1620. That is the number for the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Also, the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. They always pick on the first ring. Old man Doug, shout out. You're the guy. And you can get us at the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trucking, at Matt McMedia, at producer Josh. I'll be at Prairie Flower Casino this weekend, baby, making the Derby picks. It's Derby week here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Came up so quick.
We have a great show for you today. Kings of Leon are here on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Taking some inspiration here from what we have on the TV. Very funny. So you saw this, that the 57th overall pick got Ketchup for life if you were picked 57th. And
I did see this, yes.
The young man who was picked 57th was selected by the Chicago Bears, and the entire city of Chicago has declared war on ketchup. We do not like
famously
ketchup. Ketchup on fries, cool. Everyone knows about the Italian beefs. Now, have you ever had an Italian beef and sausage combo dipped?
I think I have.
It's
but
where
I don't.
you
maybe
have
you're going to tell me I haven't.
You have the French bread,
Uh-huh.
and then you put in an Italian sausage, like the actual sausage, and then on top of the sausage, you put the Italian beef. So it's a beef sausage combo.
Okay.
All right.
I guess I haven't had the combo.
I'm gonna be real with you. It is I feel terrible after eating it. Like it is the biggest. It is the big. I'll just say it.
But like in the best way possible.
It is like the biggest fat ass meal of all time. Like everyone knows what I'm talking about. Like you eat it and you're like, this is awesome. This is incredible. But you cannot move for probably a half hour before you're like, all right, I'm good. I'm settled. Now on that, maybe I'm crazy, but sometimes I'll put ketchup on my Italian beef and sausage combo. Pretty elite play. Especially when the ketchup it soaks into the wet bread. That's the key to about an Italian beef. The beef is fine. Like the beef has got to be great, and you got to get the right giardiniera. Always better if they make the giardiniera in house,
of course.
But if you don't have the right bread, you don't have an Italian beef. That's the thing. Like you need to get the right French bread. That you need to get the beef bread. If you don't have the bread, you don't have an Italian beef. It all falls apart, literally. So
Mr. 57 at the draft.
Yes.
This year went to Lewis Central High School in Council Bluffs.
Yes. Logan Jones.
Yeah.
Hell of a pick. I was so excited. There was one point that Logan was getting mocked to the first round very early on in the draft process, but ended up falling. Actually, some people called it a reach for Chicago. Speaking about the draft and just kind of sticking on the Chicago themed here, but it's also kind of a theme of the entirety of the NFL. You know, Chicago took Sam Roush. He is a tight end. Played for Stanford. Really came into his own during the Senior Bowl. Had a really good Senior Bowl, and people were like, "Oh wow, look at this guy." A lot of his highlights are against some really good teams. One of which I watched the tape on him playing Miami, which is always a good sign when this guy's looking good against a Miami football team that ended up going to the national championship game. And a lot of people though were like, what the hell are the Bears doing? They have the 57th overall or the 60th pick in the draft, and they're taking another tight end. Don't they already have Colston Loveland? Don't they already have Cole Kmet? This is kind of the new wave that teams are doing here, where we've seen a lot more of the big dime package, right? The larger safeties and defense is really trying to hone in on being able to stop the run while having two guys, two safeties back. And like Seattle and Mike McDonald have really made their bread and butter on it because, number one, obviously, two safeties back there and you're still able to stop the run. You can be very versatile in what you do on the defensive end. And, Seattle, because of Nick Amon-Worry, their bigger safety and kind of just their gadget guy, they were able to disguise so many looks throughout the year. I mean, you go and you look at the advanced stats, they were the best team at disguising looks and really confusing quarterbacks. And stumping defense, or, great offenses like the San Francisco 49ers. And so we've seen teams and the guy who really started to do it, who really started to get into the 13 personnel packages and who really started to just push, hey, we're going to be super big. We're going to run the ball. We're going to beat the crap out of you, but we're also going to have some versatile tight ends that we can surprise you with that can also catch the ball. We're the LA Rams and Sean McVay. They ran a ton of 13 personnel. And that's part of the reason why their run game with Corum and Williams started to take off and be super effective. Ben Johnson, it's a monkey see, monkey do type league, right? It's a copycat league. And you gotta steal like an artist. One of the best coaches I've ever had told me steal like an artist, right? Look at what other people are doing and copy that. And if they're having success, add that into your repertoire. And so I think a lot of people were like, well, what are the Bears doing? And why are all these tight? I mean, we had so many tight ends fly off the board. I mean, there was a massive run of tight ends that really started with Nate Borkature, the former Nebraska Cornhusker, going 52nd overall to Jacksonville, which, Bork was projected to be drafted. I mean, it wasn't like he was going to go undrafted, but he was more of a mid-round guy, ended up going really, really high. And then we had this pretty long run of tight ends. You're seeing it now where, these offenses, 13 personnel in these big packages and having, different types of tight ends that can block really well, tight ends that can receive really well, tight ends that can kind of do it all. That's kind of the next evolution of offense we're seeing in football. And so, the Bears, I think before you're told the context as to why they're doing it and some of the new things that they're going to try out with their 13 personnel, you think it's a baffling pick. But then you kind of take a step back and you go, oh, no. They're angling. There's a vision here. They have a vision for what they're going to do with Roush. So really excited to see what this Bears offense can look like, where their head coach loves drafting offensive players. Also, too, there were some teams who had some great drafts, and you're like, I typically don't see you doing this. I typically don't see you making all these smart picks and really hammering it down. But two of the teams that I loved were the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. I think that they really knocked it out of the park. I told you a hot take, a spicy take on our off-air meeting. I'll put it out in the air. It's a little ridiculous, but if they if they keep stacking draft picks, I think Cleveland's going to win a Super Bowl in the next 10 years. Whoa! Andrew Berry, back-to-back years, put together two really good drafts. They had the Rookie of the Year in Schlesinger last year, the linebacker out of UCLA, had a great steal with Harold Fannin, the tight end. Mason Graham, I mean, it was masterful what they were able to do, right? To the trading back up to 5, getting a ton of picks for Travis Hunter, taking Mason Graham. Then they, stole Judkins from a lot of teams. There were a lot of teams who wanted to draft Quinshon Judkins, and he looks like he's a legitimate offensive weapon in his first year. And they are the first team. So they went ahead, they traded back from 6. They got, I think, the safest, probably the safest prospect outside of Jeremiah Love in this entire draft, and Spencer Fanu, who could play tackle, play guard, kind of a guy just wherever you end up putting him. He's a plug and play type of guy. Then, we're having this discussion and this conversation more and more and more because of quarterbacks that are resurrecting their careers and having big moments elsewhere, where is the quarterback failing the organization, or is the organization failing the quarterback? We had this conversation with Baker Mayfield. We obviously had this conversation with Sam Darnold, who just won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks. And so more and more you see teams really just being like, oh no, we're not going to have a high pick and just take a draft, but take a quarterback. We're going to make sure that we have the infrastructure. And the Cleveland Browns, man, they went ahead. They had Fanu, okay? They fixed their offensive, they get a top quality premier prospect, offensive line prospect. They drafted 2 more offensive line prospects in the middle rounds. They are the first team in 30 years to draft 2 wide receivers in the top 40. No team has ever done that in 30 years. They did it with Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion. I like Concepcion a lot. I think Concepcion is going to be a real weapon out of the slot for the Browns. So they added to their they added to their offensive line. They added to their offensive weapons. They're obviously going to take this year, and it's going to be interesting to that quarterback room is, I don't want to call it a mess, but it's funny. I mean, Sanders, Gabriel, drafted Taylon Green, who is a hell of a prospect he's a project. Talk about a project. He's a project out of Arkansas, the quarterback. And then I guess Deshaun Watson is going to be the guy is what seems everything like is pointing to. So, this is a team though that had a really, really good defense last year. And then they added Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, a guy that, a lot of people early on in the, later actually heading into the draft had him as a, late second round or late first round, maybe second round draft pick. They ended up getting him in the second round. So The Browns kill it. They got some really premier prospects, address needs. And look, this season is this season for the Browns. It just kind of seems like it's going to be what it's going to be. And we'll see what happens there. But they're getting to the point where if they have another effect, and it seems like they do. I mean, if we're just talking value and prospects, they got some really good prospects and they maximize their value really well. They're getting to the point where you're a quarterback away. Like they're building the infrastructure to the point where it's like, all right, if you can identify the quarterback that's good enough to win you the Super Bowl, whether it's in the free agency or whether, it's through the draft, I really like what Cleveland's doing. And there will, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that the AFC North is easy. I don't think the AFC North will ever be easy in my lifetime. It just seems like that will never occur. But it definitely, I don't know if it's necessarily the juggernaut that it was a couple of seasons ago. Like it's going to be a new era in Baltimore. We'll see what happens. They still have Lamar Jackson. It's going to be, a new era in Pittsburgh with Mike McCarthy. We'll see what happens. I don't think that the Steelers or Ravens are going to be picking in the top 5 anytime soon. And, with Cincinnati, they're always the wild card because, they can never figure out that defense, but that offense is dynamite. Look out for the Browns, man. Look out for the Browns and look out for Barry and the moves that he's making. I think this is back-to-back really good drafts. And then the other team, I go, wow, we don't see this a lot from you. The Jets, man. I really liked what the Jets did. Kenyon Sadiq, weapon at the tight end position. We talked about the tight end position and its evolution and its increased importance in the game of football and what we're seeing offenses do in the NFL with the creativity at the tight end position. Sadiq is a blue chip tight end prospect. David Bailey, I'm worried about the fit with McDonald. Will McDonald's their other DN who isn't all that great at stopping the run like Bailey, so maybe they'll have to pick one or the other. But you picked a guy who, if David Bailey never has 10 sacks or double-digit sacks in his career, I'm going to be very shocked. And I think a lot of people are going to be very shocked. And what are we talking about in terms of premier positions? Well, it's quarterback, and then most often the next type of premier position you talk about is either offensive tackle or that rush end that can get to the passer, because this, entire game of the NFL just revolves around either being able to throw the ball or stopping the team from throwing the ball. And so I like what they, Bailey, great pick, hard to mess up that pick, number 2 overall, but trading back in to the first round to get Omar Cooper Jr. Was a really good pick. And we talked more about the evolution, right, of the types of guys that teams are valuing. And it's once again the Rams who kind of set the precedent of, no, we want guys who can block in the run game. We want guys who are aggressive, as wide receivers who can give us advantages out on the outside when it comes to their blocking. But we also want guys who are strong to the football, who are aggressive at the point of attack, who just go and get balls, right? And Omar Cooper Jr. is a guy who has just risen, just skyrocketed up draft boards in the last couple of weeks of the college season and then into this draft process. 3 first-round picks. You got to love it. And then D'Angelo Pons, kind of fits back into that Sauce Gardner role where look at the haul they got for Gardner. I mean, they got a lot of draft picks coming up in 2027 as well. Multiple first-round picks. So you see what what the Jets are doing there. They have their eyes on 2027 while also making some really solid picks in this draft on both sides of the ball. And then I like what they did with Klubnik. I think that was just a very savvy play to go and pick up Cade Klubnik. He's a talented quarterback. Yeah, did he have the season that he really wanted at Clemson? No, this was a guy that we thought would be competing to be the number 1 overall draft pick in this draft. But at the same time,
little flyer.
Yeah, why not, right? I mean, I think everybody knows what this process is going to look like. Geno Smith is going to play the first 7 to 10 games, and either he's not going to play very well or he's going to get hurt. And then you go, okay, let's see what this kid can do, and if he ends up playing well at the end of the year, maybe you consider, hey, do we just continue to add on with all these draft picks we have in 27? Or if he's bad, you package that together and you go out and you get your quarterback next year in a 2027 draft pool that everybody's freaking out about.
He was pick 110, so it's either going to be great value or we can cut ties with him. It was his 110th draft pick.
Honestly, Josh, there's a possibility where they go, hey, this guy's good, but we're going to go and get Arch Manning, or we're going to go and get CJ Carr. We're going to go ahead and get this draft prospect. You know what? We'll trade Klubnik. He had good enough tape in the NFL to show that he could be a serviceable quarterback. If there's a team out there who doesn't necessarily want to spend a lot of draft capital on a quarterback in this cycle, or they're not high enough, hey, have him. You can figure it out with him. So I think it was a savvy pick, very savvy pick from the New York Jets. Really like what they did. Pons, I thought was a really good draft pick. And then the other team I have on here, and we already kind of talked about them, were the Chiefs. I just like what the Chiefs did, address the defensive side of the ball. I think Delane was a very clean cut cornerback prospect. Thought they really killed it, taking the rush end out of Oklahoma, Mason. Thought that was a really good pick as well. I mean, like we said, the engine of the Kansas City Chiefs has been Patrick Mahomes. But I would tell you that whatever the next important thing that you think is on a car, that's what the Kansas City Chiefs defense has been, right? I mean, they
cool
have
spoiler.
So I would say the tires. I mean, the tires are pretty important.
That's the only part of your vehicle that touches the road.
Yeah. You know what? We talk about it all the time here on 1620 The Zone. It is kind of funny, though, to say that sentence and then be like, yeah, no, sir. I mean, I mean, I haven't really
never
thought about it.
Yeah,
never.
Exactly.
I've never looked at the.
All right. What is touching? The
Yeah,
road
I've never,
on my car?
But at the same time, they got the edge. Mason Thomas. I just really like what they did. They addressed the defensive side of the ball, used their first 4 draft picks, and then look, did Emmett fall? Yeah. Was it a steal though? In my opinion, yeah. That guy's he was projected to go anywhere from 3rd to 4th round, and he's going to be another. That's the thing about Emmett that really convinced me as to why I thought he was going to go higher, was because he's just kind of like, when you have a guy like that, and we saw Emmett line up. It's not just, well, it wasn't every time Emmett caught the ball, was coming out of the backfield. He lined up in the slot. He lined up. People forget he was like the X wide, like all the way out wide against Northwestern in that really important 3rd and 7, where he just kind of ran that curl, and they just threw it to him. Like, the guy is a really good route runner, come out of the backfield. When Emmett is quick, when he's decisive, when he's explosive, he's just a really good running back. I thought it was a hell of a pick from Kansas City in the 5th round. So, like what they did, addressed the defense, went ahead, got a steal. I like what the Bears did. I'm going to tell you this. A lot of people are poo-pooing the Minnesota Viking pick. Of Caleb Banks. Like, that has been the kind of hot button top 1st round draft pick that a lot of people are saying, oh, that was a mistake. If that young man is healthy, that will end up being one hell of a pick for the Minnesota Vikings. Seriously. Like,
is anyone on the Vikings ever healthy?
That's a great point. And they traded, by the way. Philadelphia did it again, where they had another just really, really good draft. We called it. We told you from the beginning. I was like, Cole Payton just seems like a guy Howie Roseman is just gonna take. Like, he's just it just makes sense.
I just kept saying though, like, they don't need him. They don't.
No, they don't. But I think that the Eagles just approach things as like, hell of an athlete.
Yep.
He's similar to kind of like, he can run a pretty similar type of offense to what they run currently right now with Jalen Hurts, because he still has that ability to run with the football. But then it's a copycat league, right? And I think Howie Roseman definitely is the type of guy who goes ahead and says, well, hey, Taysom Hill really worked out in New Orleans, and they were able to use him as a wide receiver, use him as a tight end, have him eventually play special teams. Like, I don't know if they'll take Cole that far, but like, I just think Howie's the type of GM where he goes, awesome prospect, we'll find a way to get him on the football field. And if he plays quarterback, he plays quarterback. That's totally fine too. The guy was awesome at North Dakota State.
They drafted a guy who's never played football before.
Yeah. They've done that.
So
they are
thinking outside the box, for better or worse.
There was I forget the San Francisco guy, but it was Mailata, and then it was the other dude. Jordan Mailata's one hell of a tackle, but yeah, they got Peyton, but at the same time too, they got the offensive tackle out of Miami, Bell, who's a really good prospect, and then Eli Stowers. We were going to talk about this tight end class, like Claire, Stowers, Roush, Sadiq, another just really, really savvy pick. And then they got Jonathan Grenard. They traded 2 third-round draft picks and got a very high-quality defensive player from Minnesota. So I just think, once again, it's one of those things where it's like there were some teams where you're not used to the Jets and the Browns being like, hell yeah, what a class, right? Well, Browns now, it's probably the second year in a row we're saying it. But you look at what Philadelphia did, and you really look at what Kansas City did, like top to bottom. In a way, you're like, rich kind of getting richer. Like the Rams only had 5 picks. Rams got the other tight end, Claire, out of Ohio State. Right, is really going to add to their 13 personnel look. So, overall, that's kind of our draft rundown there. Garrett Nussmeier, tough. I mean, I had a buddy, he was like, I'm going to bet Nussmeier to go in the second round. I go, I don't know about that. But ends up, and that was kind of the tough. We always went back to him in his family room and on the couch and everything like that. It seemed like he was going through it, but ended up. Once again, Kansas City Chiefs, good value pick. Another guy, super talented, that they end up coming away with in the 7th round. And it's one of those things too, Josh, where if it doesn't work out,
you're not in for that much.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go to the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Old man Doug, 429511620 is the number to reach us at. Doug is on the line. Doug, how are you, my friend? Great to hear from you.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
I shared this with the morning show, and sometimes just with my schedule, I don't have opportunities to call into your show, but I am listening, and I listen to most of the podcasts.
Nice. Thank you.
I've been also listening to some podcasts on the weekend, and I think it's pretty sad that Emmitt Smith was the 7th running back taken. And I've got people having 1 draft pick on Nebraska is unacceptable, and it's sad with the resources that are there. But everyone's like, well, it was kind of a weird draft or whatever. No, it wasn't, because we had a tight end that evidently we didn't feel like he was the starter or whatever, goes to Texas A&M, and now he's a 2nd round pick. So then we take, it was a big, everybody needed tight ends. But then on running backs, you can't even say, running backs, they weren't that. Emmitt Smith arguably
Johnson
is the 2nd or 3rd best. And the stink, and quite frankly, he did it with a subpar offensive line. I don't get it. I just think that I don't think we realize how low Nebraska's football program has gotten. I just don't think so. And everyone's defending, but it's basically, it can't go any lower than it was when Frost left. And I'm not sure, Rules elevated it a whole lot. Some, you can say they went to 2 bowl games.
Yeah. There's been improvement for sure.
You got curb stomped by Utah, and that's a bad, there's just so many excuses being made. When are we going to say that Rule, you got 2 years, and quit talking and start coaching and start hiring coaches that can develop? Because seeing all these draft picks from Iowa, and then we're like, and there's always an excuse. There should be zero excuse for us not to have a better football program than Iowa. Zero. We're in the same exact geographic position.
Yeah. Doug, I appreciate you. It's a good call from Doug. It's a great segue. We're going to talk about that.
Interesting.
How should we feel about Emmett Johnson being the only Nebraska Cornhusker selected in this year's NFL draft? We will talk about that next here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
It is Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. We want to remind you to go to the 1620thezone.com online website to go ahead and enter yourself into a bunch of different contests. We have George Thorogood and the Destroyers, Yachtly Crew, the Black Keys, Young Giant, Chris Stapleton, Burt Kreischer, all of those artists in and around the Omaha area, and Stapleton in particular being in Lincoln. Go ahead if you want to see those bands / comedians perform. Go to 1620thezone.com and enter in for a chance to win your way there. And we want to remind you, it is Derby week, baby, and you can get in on the action and enter 1620 The Zone's Derby draw for your chance to win $200 without saddling up on a horse. Be one of the lucky 20 finalists, and you'll randomly be assigned a racehorse. If your horse wins on Saturday, you win $200. Register now at 1620thezone.com. The Puma. Not my official selection, but it's a Gustavo Delgado horse. If you remember the 2023 Kentucky Derby champion, Mage, he trained that horse. Really big fan of the Puma. Saw him run in the Tampa or in the Florida Derby. He came in second. He closed hard in the Florida Derby. His speed rating was 117. So we'll see. We'll see about it. I mean, is he peaking a little too early? Maybe that's something that we have to take into consideration. Because remember last year, Sovereignty, who won the Kentucky Derby, went heading into the Derby. He didn't run the fastest race, but a lot of people were like, this might be a sign if he can get better. If he can run faster, that's what he did. Did Puma already peak is what people are asking. But Javier Castellano on that horse, hell of a jockey. John goes, oh my God, Doug. Most everyone else has known how bad Nebraska is for a long time. If you are just now seeing it, that is you being a moron, not the rest of us.
Whoa. Okay.
John coming in hot. Doug's not a moron. Doug is not a moron, and Doug is totally well within his right to ask, what the hell? Nebraska has one draft pick this year. They've had 3 draft picks in the last 3 seasons. Okay? Nebraska hasn't had a transfer portal acquisition get drafted since 2023. Okay? So it's not even that, unfortunately, you're failing to develop some of the high school guys you brought in here immediately, but at the same time, the guys that you've acquired through the portal haven't been peaking as well. Now, look, sometimes we say negative things, and this doesn't just happen to me, it happens to everybody, right? You say potentially negative things about the football program, and we all go, oh my God, you're calling it the worst thing ever. Okay. And I'm not calling this the worst thing ever. I'm not saying that this is terrible and awful and Matt Rule needs to answer for only one draft pick, being selected in 2026. But it ain't good. It ain't good. It ain't a good thing, right? Is this going to cripple the program or going to cripple the recruiting process for Nebraska? No, it's not. They got a 4-star commit yesterday. Corey Hadley Jr. out of Georgia, a safety, 6'1", 180 pounds. Nebraska's third 4-star commit, according to 24/7 Sports, on the class of 2027, which currently ranks the 20th best recruiting class in the country. Like, it's not going to cripple recruiting, but when these guys come onto campus, right? And this isn't, this is everywhere across the country, right? Teams know what's important to them. They know what they value. Hey, do you value development? Do you value money? Do you value, loyalty? Do you value relationships, right? And they also know who the other teams they're competing against, right? They know when a recruit comes onto campus, they know, hey, what official visits have they taken? What official visits are they going to take? They know, hey, George is in on this guy, or UCLA is in on this guy, or we're fighting against LSU for this prospect, right? That's on everybody's radar, right? And if a high school player goes to a school, let's say they're visiting Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech knows that this player values development, and Georgia Tech knows that Nebraska is the next school that this person they're going to visit, or Nebraska is their biggest competition. What is Georgia Tech going to say to this prospect? They'll probably make a remark or two of like, oh, you want to develop? Why are you going to Nebraska? They've only had 3 draft picks in 3 years. They only had 1 guy get taken in this year's draft. We had 4 guys get taken in this year's draft, right? Why go to Nebraska? I mean, I'm just saying, we're the ones developing NFL talent, and then they move on, right? You don't want. It's one of those things where it's like you can't give ammunition to the other teams. You can't give ammunition to the other schools, and it's hard to present yourself as a developmental program, and it's hard to present yourself as a program that is rooted in taking players and getting the best out of them, taking players that maybe other people overlooked and making them great. It's harder to present yourself like that when you only have 1 draft pick in the NFL draft. It's harder to present yourself like that when Ohio State has 11 draft picks and like half of them were in the first round. Top 10 Carnell Tate, top 10 Sonny Styles.
What was it, 4 in the first 11?
4 in the first 11. And then they had Caden McDonald go later. And like everybody on that national championship defense ended up getting picked, right? It's hard to present. It's hard to compete, against Miami, which they're competing a lot against Miami because they're in, they love getting Florida prospects, where Miami goes, we had 9 guys taken. We had multiple first round draft picks taken, right? So, it's hard to present. It's harder to present yourself as a developmental program when Navy, Northwestern, NC State, North Dakota State, Toledo, Wake Forest, Stanford all have more draft picks than you do. Right? You remember that? Oh, Penn State, wow, had a really down year. James Franklin got fired. Well, they had 8 draft picks. And I just always harken back because I was there in person when it was said, and I didn't disagree with the statement. I'm gonna be real with you. I agreed with the statement completely when Matt Rule was on that podium and said, I have 1 master. And that master is to beat Ohio State. Like that's the only, and he went and articulated about when we start worrying about other things and we start putting thought into things that really don't matter all that much, that's when we get away from the objective. And I loved it when he goes, I got 1 job, MFers. He didn't say it. He didn't say that directly. But he goes, and he was talking to everybody. He wasn't just talking to the media members. He was talking to everybody who was watching, everybody who was listening. He goes, I got 1 job. And I got to beat Ohio State. I got 1 job. I want to win the last game of the season. That's what I got to do. Okay? And I loved it. It showed drive. It showed, hey, you know what you're at. I don't want you worried about the other stuff. And he's right. When we have been worried, when Nebraska has been worried about the other stuff, that's when you start losing. And that's when you start, the program goes into the tailspin it went on. At the same time, though, yeah, your Masters could beat Ohio State. Ohio State got 11 draft picks, man. 11
you're
draft
very
picks.
far away from that.
Josh Hodson, they're very far away. And we're 3 years into this thing. And we're heading into year 4, right? I'm not asking you to be Ohio State in year 3. But how much closer are you to Ohio State now than you were 3 years ago? That's a fair question to ask. How much you're closer? Don't get me wrong. They're a lot closer to Ohio State now than they were when he first got here. They've made progress. They actually run a professional program over there compared to what was there before, right? Like they're a lot closer. But have you taken the jump? Are you as close as maybe you wanted to be or you thought you would be to that program 3 years later? I don't think so. Because the proof is in the pudding. And at this point, the proof is you had 1 draft pick this year. You've had 3 in the last 3 years. You haven't had a transfer portal guy get drafted since 2023. It's, like I said, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not going to cripple the recruiting department. They're recruiting just fine. They're doing really, really well in terms of recruitment without having to use this chess piece. But I think it's very fair to point out, hey, man, you should have a couple more. We shouldn't have Wake Forest and Navy and Northwestern programs that you go, we should beat any day of the week, and we put way more into this program than they do. You shouldn't have those programs touting multiple picks, and you can't.
It's not the end all be all, but
no, not at all. But it ain't good.
It is good. It is a mathematical fact that it's easier to win games when you have better players than the other teams that you're playing against. And you had one,
and the team that you're trying to beat had 11.
Let's pick a team in the middle. Iowa, they had 7.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah, Iowa Western had 6.
Great video came out. A friend of the program, Caden Wiegen.
Oh yeah,
he was on the golf course when he got drafted. I like that guy a lot. We gotta have him. We gotta have him on just to have him on. He's an awesome.
We could probably make that happen.
Friend of the program. Here on Middays.
Because we speak proper English in the Middays.
Friend of the program, Caden Wiegen. Hell of a pick for Pittsburgh, by the way. He's going to do so well as a Steeler.
Yeah.
So well as a Steeler.
It's a good fit.
It's a great fit for him. He looks good in yellow and black, too. I'm being real.
He can wear a lot of the same clothes.
It's a lot of, the colors just, I don't know what it is with, he just looks good in that color.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow is his color, I guess. By the way, shout out Michael Severe. They had the Jet Award on the ticker.
Hello.
For Caden Wiegen. Caden got drafted, and they were 2-time Jet Award winner. And it was in parentheses, best returner or best returner in college. And I think Zachariah Branch, who when he got drafted, he also had that on the ticker. The Lowman Trophy, which is the best trophy for the trophy for the best fullback in college football, that got presented too. That was created by Pardon My Take, a Barstool podcast. And it's not a serious trophy. Well, it's not a super serious. It's not like the Outland or anything. I don't even think it's official.
But they Googled accolades of this player.
And they saw Low Man Trophy best. Okay. And PMT was like, holy crap. We did not think that this would happen. So fun stuff happening in the NFL draft. We got emails and text messages after our developmental talks about Nebraska football and only having one draft pick. Like I said.
Did that garner some discussion?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it did. Big time. Worst thing in the world? No. Good look? No, not at all.
Far from it.
Far from it. Far from it. We are really close to lunchtime, though. The Odd News coming up next with Josh Odd's son here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Odson.
Josh Odson.
Matt McMaster.
We missed out on the odd news twice last week.
Whoa.
I had angry emails.
Oh, no.
I had people
Well, I don't
very
like that for
upset.
you.
Well, I don't like that for you either. I mean, you are a pillar, a foundation of the show, Middays with Josh, here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
You're hearing it more and more.
You like that? Do you like that?
I get those burners fired up every time.
Josh, I went on your phone. Why do you have 8 different Twitter accounts?
Don't
What?
worry about
Hey,
it.
Josh, this guy was trashing me. What? Josh, you're John? You've been John the whole time?
No, you can't.
It was
prove
me,
that.
Austin. It was me all along. Let's do the
Not
odd
what
news.
you know, it's what you can prove. We go to Kansas.
You think my guys are going to turn against me? Smiley? You think them? Do we have one in Florida?
Where is this story at? Yeah, we do.
All right.
Do you want to start there?
Yes, let's start in Florida.
Okay.
We'll go with Florida woman. We'll go with motor vehicle. And we'll say it involves a beach.
I don't think you got any of those right, except for Florida. A patron who was visibly upset about the hardness of the bread used for his sandwich struck a Subway employee in the face, according to police who arrested the man for battery. Roy McIntosh, 43 years young, some might say old enough to know better, arrived Tuesday morning at a Subway in Wildwood, Florida, and confronted a male employee with his bread beef.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good play on words.
It is. During a brief verbal interaction, McIntosh suddenly struck the worker across the left side of his face with an open hand.
Whoa, open hand,
Open
left-handed slap.
Yeah.
What is he, Conor McGregor?
When a responding officer spoke with the victim, the cop observed visible redness and slight swelling to the left side of the face, consistent with being struck. Why can't they just say, yeah, he got hit?
He got hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I've taken these writing classes before. It's ridiculous, right? You try and make it as proper but concise as possible, which makes no sense.
According to a surveillance footage, McIntosh striking the worker who immediately stepped backward in apparent shock.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I'd be like Chris Rock. Like, really? Over bread? Over a joke?
Police subsequently tracked down McIntosh, who lives about 3 miles from the Subway. He confessed to striking the sandwich artisan, claiming the victim intentionally gave him old, stale bread on a sandwich he purchased a week ago.
Yeah.
McIntosh claimed that when he confronted the worker, he just began to laugh, which caused him to strike the victim.
I bought this sandwich a week ago and the bread is hard, you piece of crap.
What? Sir?
I was going to say, before you brought up the fact that he had the sandwich for a week, how stale was this bread? Like, was it?
I don't know if he ate the sandwich that day and was like, I've been meaning to come here for the last week. I just haven't been able to work it into my schedule.
So he's been pissed about the bread, but it was one of those things where it's like, I'm not on that side of town.
Yeah. Or
next time I'm on that side of town, I'll do it.
I don't know when he ate the sandwich. Because, if you eat the sandwich a week later, it's going to be
That's all
hard. But
on
you got to
you.
know that.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. Does he have prior arrest, or is this? Can you imagine if this is your first time being arrested? Is this story?
That's what got you to crack.
That's seriously. Let's stay on this. Actually, we'll do one story here because I have a question.
Oh, okay.
So we were talking about tipping earlier.
We were.
Right? Because I watch Reservoir Dogs, and that's the whole thing. Do you tip? And I explained that if I'm standing up, I don't tip. Okay? Like and that's more like fast food restaurants or, like Chipotle, I don't tip, or McDonald's, I'm not tipping. If I'm at an arena, right, and they just go into the fridge and they open up a beer, I'm not tipping for that. I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Subway is tough for me.
Oh.
Do you tip at a Subway? Because they're working. They got to cut open the bread. They got to open the bread up. They got to place the meat properly down. They got to place the cheese properly down. Then they move it over. Then they tell you, what do you want? Then they pick out all the ingredients. They are making a sandwich for you. They are making sandwiches. That is labor. Because that's my thing. I don't tip at an arena because what is the labor of walking over, grabbing the beer, and opening it up?
So it is not automatic for me. It depends on how pleasant you seemed. We don't have to talk, but do you seem pleasant or do you seem frustrated that I've entered your store?
Yes.
How busy are you? Do
I'm
I
gonna
feel
be real.
sorry for you being by yourself and having to make 8 sandwiches?
Great point by you. I get some tood over at a Subway. I
Yeah,
can get some
yeah.
tood. I can get some attitude from these people who are like, they're not happy that I'm using Subway for what it should be used for.
Mhm.
Right? Like, don't be mad at me. You work at a sandwich shop.
I could be smoking in the back alley
Yes,
if you weren't here right
I'm
now.
just doing what this store is about. I get
Yeah.
some. That's a good point. How nice are they to be?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about.
Mhm.
See, Chipotle, I have no problem going no tip. They're just scooping, right? What do you want? Bowl, rice, yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
Mhm.
Come on, I'm not tipping 20% for that. But there are some good Subway sandwich makers. Same thing with Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's is another one where that's tough too because they're cutting your meat. They're slicing your meat.
There's always like 19 people behind that tiny little counter.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
I do. We got to hit a break here.
Okay.
Is softball having a moment or is it lightning in a bottle? We'll talk about that coming up next year, the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Soul.
Okay. Go on.
Okay.
First off, a raging conversation in the YouTube chat after our discussion about tipping.
A real rager.
This is, and Jimmy describes it the best. Tough combo with tipping. No true right or wrong answer. It's just awkwardness. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Now, I want to make something very clear. Casindalar writes, this guy's an ass. I love Alex. He goes, person making $3.50 an hour, relying on tips to compensate for the rest of the wages, seeing Matt coming, says, my kids are going to be hungry again tonight. I tip those people. I tip those people in the service industry who aren't making enough money in terms of hourly or salary or whatever it might be. That's not the conversation. The conversation is tipping at fast food. Now, you had a great question, Josh, that you asked me off air.
Oh, yes. One of the things I run through my filter before tipping or not tipping, if I say no tip, at what point in the process is the person on the other side of the counter going to know I have said no tip?
Yes.
Do I have my food yet? Can I get out? How much are we going to have to exchange an awkward look because I said no tip?
That is tough. And also too, I've only ever angry tipped a couple of times in my life where the service was just not good. And I purposefully tipped lower than what the standard would be. Okay. You're damn right. I made a point to get out pretty quickly after I did that. Okay. But they didn't, they had bad service. I'm not going to give you the full 25%. That's how it should work. Okay. So here's another one too. This is why I'm careful with DoorDash. Because DoorDash, they do know.
They can see it before they even accept the order, right?
They can see it. And so I get nervous about if I'm only tipping them very little, are they going to be like, screw this guy, I'm just going to eat the sandwich, or I'm just going to take their food, or I'm going to do whatever, or I'm going to, drop it, or I'm not going to be very slow, or I'm going to be mad when I drop it off. Or like, they might just leave it at a door. They might go, because I like it when they come to me and they put it by my apartment door. But if you don't tip them a lot, they'll just throw it at the main entrance. And then at that point, I've gotten things stolen from me.
Sure.
Where it's just like, some frat guy just is like, oh, there's Buffalo Wild Wings. And they just take it.
Food.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. So DoorDash, that's why I'm careful. I'm careful because they know. They know before they get it what they're making. And I don't want them being all pissy and spitting in my food. Everything like that. I can't really think of too many restaurant or fast food places where you're like tipping before the service.
It would be pretty rare.
But you are right. If I see, don't give them any ideas, Josh, because now you're gonna now they might start asking you if you want to tip before the service is done.
Heard a great idea of the drive-in today, boss.
What if we made them, because they're going to be nervous that they're not going to make their food well if they don't tip enough. That way we don't have to pay them as much. That's my one thing too. Where it's like, we don't have to. See, now we're bordering into we're jumping the shark here. But if I'm standing, I'm not tipping. It gets what we've come to a consensus to, though. Sandwich places are the toughest. Because I don't know. I feel bad when I don't tip at Jersey Mike's. I don't. Like I don't feel good.
It just feels like a business where it seems like it generally is run with as few people as possible.
You see the guy cranking the meat. Yeah. He's cranking your meat.
Jersey Mike's is a pretty labor-intensive sandwich place.
And like my shoulder hurts watching this guy just cranking them.
Really
he's
rearing
it,
back. Yeah.
And then he places it down perfectly. Then these blocks of meat, they aren't light, so he puts it back. He acts a little bit like it's so heavy. He walks back.
Oh, maybe it's performative.
It's performative, yeah.
Trying to get a bigger tip.
Oh my God. And so this ham, it's like 18 pounds.
Working real hard for you.
Yeah, here, look at me cranking your pepperoni right here. I'm just cranking it, And I'm like, look at him crank that meat, I'm like, this guy's cranking meat harder than I've seen meat ever cranked. I'm like, how am I not going to tip him? How could I not tip this guy?
Okay, at first we were wondering if you knew what you were doing. I think you figured it out.
And it's just like, and then he he gets the provolone, he puts the provolone on his shoulder like it's a log. He brings it over. He's cranking my provolone,
All right, we gotta find a person who's about 4'11" to work in our kitchen, but their only job is to bring the logs of meat and cheese from the cooler to the counter that it looks real big.
They need a guy that they only pay to just bring in the meat through the front of the store every time. Like, look at all the tuna we got, look at this. Hey, hey, you gotta, or maybe they do this. They go, damn, we're out of. You know what? We're going to get you a fresh block. We're going to get you a fresh block. Bring in the fresh block of ham. Bring it in. Let's back it up. Beep, beep, beep. Look at that block. It's a fresh block just for you. And then they, I think the guys too, who are on the griddle doing like the Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, I think they purposely are banging the grill a little to like make it sound like the chopping sound like you would at Benihana. To be like, look, we're really working it.
Chopping here.
We're really chopping up your meat, really slicing it up. So I now have convinced myself to always tip at Jersey Mike's. Not at Subway. I'm not tipping at Subway. Every time I go to a Subway, it seems like they don't want me there. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing it out. Every time I go to the Subway, they seem really disappointed that I decided to show up.
You go to Subway more than me.
Yeah.
However, I enjoy my meal every time I go there.
Me too.
But it does seem to inconvenience the employees.
Every time. It's like they are so unhappy you are there. But it's your job. You work here.
But they get paid whether or not I come in or not.
I've never seen, though, like there are some places where they tell their employees, hey, every time, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, which I'm kind of hit or miss on that type of style. Right. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to Chick-fil-A whether or not they tell me my pleasure. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
They overdo it a little bit.
I know there's a segment of the population that would be just up in arms because nothing bad's ever happened to them in their whole life if the people at Chick-fil-A stop saying my pleasure. But I don't need it. I'm just saying thank you. I'm a kind person. I'm just saying thank you.
Actually, it's my pleasure. I'm getting the food. I'm getting the food. Yeah. Like,
then do we get into a pleasure fight?
I don't want to get into pleasure fights. Pleasure fights are my least favorite type of fights. Right. I hate the after you. If I'm on the road and I tell you go, right? If I'm a pedestrian and I tell you to go, or I'm in the car and I tell you to move over into the lane, let's not get into let's not get into an argument. Right? Just go. Just move. I don't need to walk. Drive your car. Pedal on the right. No big deal. I don't need to get into a pleasure off. That doesn't sound like a fun thing to get into. So
kind of fun.
A fun thing to get into is Nebraska Softball. Killing it. Having a great year. One softball publication has made Nebraska the #1 team in the country. And I love that every Nebraska media member is like, they're the #1 team in the country.
That's the poll we use.
Yeah. They're the #1 team in the country. But you like go and you watch it, and it's like there's clearly a #4 next to Nebraska. Like they are nationally the 4th team, but every media member is in on the bit where it's just like, no, we're the #1 softball America, #1. So I've been to 2 games. I went to 2 games last week. First off, just from a softball perspective, not that I'm our resident softball expert here.
You kind of are.
They're good. They're very good. I was impressed by their defense and their athleticism. Like they got a runner out at home in the Omaha game, and had a great relay from right field all the way into the home plate. Great cutoff, great throw to the catcher. I think they're athletic. They're pretty fast. Just really impressed with like the roster put around them. And here's the thing, like I was talking to somebody in the press box, very close to the team. And, Jordy came in her first year, she had the knee injury. And so she couldn't play. And, at the time when Jordy got hurt, you're like, God dang it. Like everyone was so excited for the softball season. Like they were doing things with the season tickets and they were trying to get more seats into bowling. And you're like, man, like this was going to be really exciting. And the player that was going to be the straw that stirs the drink, is going to be out for a year. And you never know in terms of knee injuries, right? Like, is she going to come back and be the same? And she's already answered those questions. But I was talking to this person in the press box, very close to the team. They told me, they're like, you know what? Her having that break and her having that injury might be one of the better things that happened, because she,
she probably didn't have that in high school, right?
Well, she had communicated it too, and it was known. It's been known that she needed a break after playing in Oklahoma and playing as long. And that's the thing too. Like, she wins the national championships at Oklahoma. I think she just she needed a reset, and that was communicated, and she's communicated that before. And then on top of that, like, Oklahoma, played to the very end of the year. And so when she entered the portal and committed, it had all the really good players in the softball portal had already entered and then committed elsewhere. And so they couldn't use Jordy as a, hey, look what we got. We got one of the best players in the country, playing in our hometown, and everybody's super excited, come and play for Nebraska. They couldn't use her as a recruiting tool. Like, we talked about it with Dylan a ton. When Dylan committed, it was great that he committed, but he committed very late in the process where you couldn't necessarily use him as a tool to get other players, because she was, she had the 1 year where she had to sit out. When you entered that transfer portal the next year, you could use her as a, hey, we're going to be good this year. We got Jordy Ball. Like, this is going to work out. And then you also have to think so too, like, Alexis Jensen's been playing some great softball. If Jordy, and you had brought this up, like, it's always about the next pitcher after Jordy. If she doesn't have that year where she's, out of action, you don't get to pair up Alexis and Jordy, right? You don't get to get this really effective 1-2 tandem pitching for softball. So it's crazy how in the moment you go, oh my God, she gets hurt. She's not going to play the first year. But it ended up, they made the best out of a unfortunate situation. And now they've turned this into being one of the best teams in the country, having back-to-back days where they're setting capacity records. And I just think my biggest question is, like, can they keep this going? Right? We call it was officially announced on Saturday, Rhonda Revelle Field at Bowling Stadium, which is quite the accomplishment. Rhonda Revelle, it's over 30 years at this point. She's been the coach of softball. I think it might be 34, 35. Obviously a staple of not only the softball program, but of the entirety of the athletic department. Quite the turnaround too, because I think people forget, like, 2019, there was some real potential of her no longer being the softball coach. I don't want to go as far as to say scandal, but the very big, news drop of softball players, complaining and saying that they weren't being treated right by the coaching staff. She was put on paid administrative leave, and read there was a Washington Post article about the situation that kind of hammered pretty hard on Rod, and hammered pretty hard on the athletic department. And did Bill Moose, did he ever write about Rhonda in the Crab Creek Chronicles? Was there ever an excerpt about that situation? That's something I actually would have been interested in reading about. But anyway, you go from that, where 7 years ago, like, her job is in question, potentially over something that optically didn't look great, to then 7 years later, we're naming the field after her, and so it's been a long process. And, now you're at the point too, where you're on the cusp of winning a national championship, and you're, setting attendance records. And, it's just going to be very curious to me, is like, what do they do after this momentum? When Jordy is gone, does Nebraska softball kind of go back to being hey, they're good and they're competitive and they win in the Big Ten and they're fine? Or do they get another Jordy Ball? Do they get another top prospect? Do they go out and invest money in the transfer portal? Does Nebraska softball go from being, hey, we're good at softball. Softball's a sport at Nebraska that's great, or does it get elevated to kind of a tier under volleyball in a way where, hey, no, this is a women's sport that we love, that we're great at? They had over 3,500 people at two softball games over the weekend. It's hard to look. I went to Bowling Stadium for the first time, seeing all the new grandstands and all the things that they had to build with extra capacity. And that place was packed. And it's hard to be there and look around and be like, it's just going to go back to the way that it was before Jordy got here. It's hard to look around and not convince somebody, invest in us, allow us to go and get more Jordy Frahms, allow us to go and compete at the highest level, give us the resources we need to potentially make it to the College World Series year in and year out, right? We talk about this all the time. Money equals momentum. Momentum equals money. They got so much momentum right now. And statistically, they've never had more, because you've never had more people come for softball games in one weekend than what happened, just a couple of days ago. So it'll be a very interesting process and discovery of, okay, when Jordy is done, where does that softball program go? Is Jordy Frahm's, is her era of Nebraska softball lightning in a bottle? Or was it the turning of the tide, right? Was her presence just say, hey, man, those were some great couple years, and that was a ton of fun, and they were on national television, and they were beating some of the best teams in the country? Or is it a moment we'll say, hey, her presence elevated the program to places that maybe people didn't think it could go, and without her, these years of success and these years of interest, that it wouldn't have happened?
So I think the answer to your question sort of lies in, what do they do when Rhonda says, I'd like to spend a little more time at home. I'd like to not do this anymore.
Yeah.
Great question. Sort of like the volleyball program, where after John Cook, it was kind of like, okay, are they going to regress as a program, or are they going to ensure that they stay at the top of the sport?
I got your answer. Look who's coaching at Connie Clausen Field right now.
Okay.
Look at what Omaha's doing, man. I mean, they haven't had this much softball success in program history. Mike Hurd is one hell of a coach. I don't think you have to look too far if you're going to answer that question. I think luckily, I mean, and we don't know when that's going to happen, right? And it could happen sooner rather than later, but I don't think that's a hard question to answer in terms of who do you offer first, and who understands it really in terms of, developing, in-state products as well. Like, who do you go to? I think that answer might be pretty I think it's visible. We'll put that out there. Coming up next, the segment for me. I'm gonna do a segment just for me. It's a segment for me. And then a segment for us with Marty Cordero coming up at 12:30 here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, a couple of pieces of news here across college football, which I have put it on the calendar. I'm going to text Brett Ciancia at sometime this week and talk to him about, hey, where's the Pick Six preview at? Where are we at, buddy boy? How we going? How we feeling?
Yeah, like logistically, like the process of making the book. So, where are we?
So Brett has talked to me about this before, and it really starts after the national championship game. That's when he really dials it in. It's like, all right, we're into it, and then it really picks up during spring ball because Brett doesn't just monitor spring ball and then like copy and paste crap. Like he goes and he contacts coaches and contacts assistant coaches, and he'll ask coaches on the team about their specific team. He'll also ask other teams. He'll like talk, for example, he might, and this is a hypothetical, he'll talk to somebody in the Big Ten and be like, hey, you're a coach for this team. What do you think of Nebraska? Right. And he'll add that excerpt in. So he's doing a lot of stuff right now. I'm going to see where he's at. Well, we might have him on sometime either this week or next week and just be like, hey, Brett, where are we at? How we feeling? What a great book. Pick Six Previews. Always recommend. One of the best reads before any season in terms of preseason books. We love Brett Ciancia, who will be joining Middays with Matt during the college football season every single week. It was just announced here, according to On3, Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby is taking a leave of absence from the football program for a gambling addiction, the school announced. Sorsby has checked in to a facility where he's going to seek professional help to get over his gambling issue at this point. ESPN's Pete Thambles reported Sorsby's entrance into treatment is in light of an investigation into the quarterback. According to the report, Sorsby reportedly made thousands of online bets on a variety of sports via a gambling app. This is a quote from Thamel. The NCAA is investigating Sorsby's gambling, according to sources, as the organization forbids athletes from betting on both college and pro sports. He also noted that this could jeopardize Sorsby's eligibility with the program. According to sources, Sorsby bet on Indiana football while redshirting for the Hoosiers as a true freshman in 2022, a season in which he played in a single game as a reserve. Thamel continues to write, the bets in 2022, according to sources, were on Indiana to win, and none came in a game in which Sorsby appeared. You and I had talked about our futures for next season in college football. One of them was Brendan Sorsby to win the Heisman. And when we talk about the 2027 quarterback class, I was listening, preparing for this draft. They go, they have some really big quarterbacks coming in for 2027. And one of the names was Brendan Sorsby. This is a guy that Texas Tech spent a lot of money on to bring him to Lubbock. And might I remind everybody, they put a damn billboard at Times Square about this kid. They bought a Times Square billboard for when he committed to Texas Tech. This was a massive addition for this team. And now, this is not only is there an investigation. I mean, he's and this is what you should do, right? And Bet Free Mike is in the chat. Gamble responsibly, set your limits. Gambling can be fun, but at the same time, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy gambling, but you got to do it the right way. You got to do it responsible way. And if you don't do it responsibly, the admirable thing to do is go and seek help. And there are a lot of great people out there. We've talked to Mike about this. A lot of free people out there, or great people out there, who provide that help. So we commend him for seeking that help, right? We're not going to make jokes about this. We're very, very happy for the young man that he recognizes he has a problem and he's going to address that problem. At the same time, it'll be very curious to see, in terms of this investigation, what happens with his eligibility and what that means for Texas Tech, who, that's a team. You look at their schedule, they very much are
very easy schedule.
Yeah. And I saw this on Twitter, so I don't know if it's totally true, but I imagine it's around the ballpark that Texas Tech only played 8 draft picks this year in their college schedule.
Oh, like played against?
Yeah, played against 8 total draft picks.
Whoa.
which is
Okay.
kind of wild. It goes to show you
Very.
how easy their schedule is.
Yeah, I'm guessing he, I don't want to speculate here, but I'm guessing he used an app of some kind. It is tracked and logged somewhere, and then that's it. Over.
Thousands of bets.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens. We've seen, we've seen guys get pretty severely punished for doing stuff like this.
Iowa Western had Hunter Deckers on their team after he was not allowed to play NCAA football anymore.
Remember Aaron Eulis for Nebraska basketball had to sit out a full year because of that investigation. So, if we're trying to make light out of a tough situation, obviously great that he didn't, gamble on his own teams to lose or didn't throw games or there wasn't any sort of collusion, it seems like. At the same time, though, proud of the man for getting help. But and we hope nothing but the best for him. Same time, be very interesting to monitor this situation. Also, too, I don't think it's inappropriate to ask the question: what happens to the money that he was paid? If already
Texas Tech doesn't get like a compensatory pick,
or anything like that, and so
they might get out from under whatever agreement they had with him. But
we'll push back. My fun segment that we're going to do till 1:00 is Marty Cordero is here, and we're going to have him on in a second. Real quick though, moving on because we were talking about Brendan Sorsby, right? Pretty big news coming out of college sports, college football. There will be news. Very big news in college football this week that involves the University of Nebraska. From Ross Dellinger, an update on the Nebraska CSC arbitration. A hearing has been scheduled for Tuesday.
That's tomorrow.
Sources tell Yahoo Sports. 18 Nebraska football players represented by Hush Blackwell and supported by the school will argue that $1 million plus in rejected NIL deals should be permitted. We've covered this a lot, this topic of warehousing deals and how Nebraska, along with programs across the country, are doing some things to pay some athletes that the College Sports Commission and NIL Go don't necessarily agree with. That case, there will be a hearing for it tomorrow, and it will be a pretty big case in setting some precedent for what NIL deals might look like in the future. Marty Cordero of the Omaha Storm Chasers coming up next here on Middays with Matt on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Alrighty, our new monthly interview. It was such a great, we had Marty Cordero, the general manager of the Omaha Storm Chasers. It was such a fun time the last time we did this that we decided, hey, we should do this more often.
I thought you were just being nice last time when you said it was fun, but it really, I guess, was because I'm back in studio.
We had people who had a good time with it, and then you hawked me down at the airport.
Well, you're the one who came up to me and said,
"No,
what are you doing here?"
Well, I did come up to you. And
you were late for your flight.
I was,
and then I did what? We have to take a selfie.
We have to. And then you tried introducing me to everybody, which I'm like, boarding group 5 is here. I got to get on this plane.
I had 9 17-year-olds headed to the beach, and yes, I had to pawn them off on someone for 30 seconds.
I went ahead and it was one of those things where I'm not late to the airport. I was at the airport for an extended period of time, but I really
Were you nursing a beer?
Yes, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, that's what you were calling it?
I milk it at a bar. I was really milking my time at the bar. And then I was okay, I'm good to go.
You know, the airport lounge is the only place that a beer is more expensive than a ballpark.
That's a great point.
Maybe not Wrigley, but everywhere else.
Well, we got to talk about this because what do you think of them selling 24-ounce beers and then calling it, hey, we're selling 2 12 ounces, so it's $20? What is, as somebody, because this is your area of expertise, you're a game day operations man, more than anything, and you kill it at that. What do you think of the idea of, hey, we're gonna sell 2 beers at once, essentially?
Well, it's interesting because we have a 2 beer limit. Oakview Group is our partner, and they have a 2 beer limit. And so a 2 beer, it's 2 at a time per person, okay?
Yeah.
So on a Thursday night when people are drinking $3 ale storms or $3 Busch Lights, it's 2 12-ounce beers. And I'm going 2 places with this story. But if someone walks up and they want 2 25-ounces, they get those, but they're really buying 4.
You get 4 beers.
So I kind of have an issue with that relative to the rules. So which way do they go? The other thing is, some nights when I'm working the beer stand on a Thursday night, I'm trying to sell $3 Busch Lights. And yet I'll have someone come up and say, no, I want the 25-ounce. And I'm like, but it's $13. Yeah, but it's more beer.
Yeah, it's probably higher.
And I say, well, buy 2 $3 beers for half of the price.
Yeah.
And they say, no, but I want more beer. I don't get people sometimes in their lack of math skills.
Sure.
I don't get it.
Well,
but
I think it goes back to they want 2 25-ounce beers.
No, they end up walking away with 1.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Math escaped them, I guess.
Sure.
But, I don't know. We have rules that protect people. And sometimes, common sense doesn't prevail is really, I guess, the moral of this 91-second mindless conversation.
Well, that's not mindless, but it's just it's one of those things where it's I do understand where you're coming from, where you're evading the logic of, all right, we give you 2 beers at a time because we don't want you to be belligerent. We don't want you to get too drunk and affect the viewing experience for other people around you. But you kind of defeat that point when you're pouring 24-ounce beers, right? Because then you're giving out 4 beers at a time. I only got to make 2 trips to the stand, and guess what? I've had 8 beers. I've had 8 beers in just 2 trips of going to the beer stand. And you got it now. Some people don't care about that, but I'm sure it's something that you got to think about.
Oh, it matters. It truly matters, and the world has gotten safer from a drinking and driving perspective with Uber and Lyft and people being more cognizant. Younger people are overall drinking less. The percentage of young people, which has become a problem in our ballpark relative to Thirsty Thursdays. And when we do beer promotions, there's not as much impact. And,
well, I'm glad I'm making up for everybody else.
Well, yeah, I guess. Almost missing your flight. Yeah, I guess.
I didn't almost miss my flight. I was boarding group 2 and it was boarding group 5.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, here's a crazy question. And you might shake this off and tell me you don't want to answer it. That's totally fine. But it's a good question here from YouTube chat. Do you think we'll ever get to the point, and I'm talking like 10, 15, 20 years from now, that you would sell weed at a ballpark?
Yeah, I think it's coming. And does that mean it's in Colorado first, New York first, the places, that are traditionally more progressive, if you will?
Yeah.
Probably so.
I feel like some minor league team would jump on that as a hook, right?
I think so. And there's and at the major league level, it's all going to be pushed by, we'll never have legalized sports gambling.
Sure.
That was what, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Heck, the NFL 7 years ago, as little as 7 years ago, said they wouldn't, but look at the money that's there. Or maybe it was 9. I was reading something last week on it. But so look, it will happen. The question is when.
Yeah.
But there's already THC infused beverage, alcohol beverages, and adult beverages. So it's coming. And I think, last week with it, being, I guess, stepped down in classification and that's another step from a federal perspective. So yeah, it's coming, but let's help those that need it medically first across the country in every state, especially those that actually had the majority of voters vote for it. And we'll have progress there for those that are fighting Tourette's and a number of other illnesses. But I'll get off my high horse for a moment.
Well, and I also think it'll be very interesting too from the, we're smoking less and less at a ballpark, right? In terms of cigarettes.
Yeah. Vaping's up, cigarettes are down.
But it'll be, immediately the first thing I think about is like, what's it going to smell like, in terms of, does that affect, people around you? I think that's something that they might have to
it could be
work around, or maybe they don't care.
It
they're
could,
just like, hey, this is what we're going to do. But
it could, but most venues have an outdoor smoking area.
They do.
That's gated off. We went to that. We've been no smoking since Warner Park opened inside the bowl and inside the ticketed area, if you will. And on the first base side, we have a small area with a bench, where smokers can go should they want to. Vapors can go should they want to. But I'm sitting here a little perplexing. Would we have weed smoking at a minor league stadium in Omaha, Metro, Sarpy County, Nebraska? That's hard to fathom for me, but I do think it will happen somewhere.
I love that insight, and I appreciate that insight. Oh, one more thing too. Have you been to the sport book over at Wrigley? Have you been there? That's like right.
No, I haven't. I haven't been to Wrigley in way too long.
You got to go back.
I do.
It's changed, man.
I do. I haven't.
It's so much different now.
I haven't been to a major league game post COVID.
Whoa.
Well, I haven't had any weekends off because until this year it was baseball and soccer.
I know.
So I literally worked every weekend. And this is the first year that I've had some downtime on weekends. And lo and behold, our youngest is graduating, and I probably still won't have any off time for a while. But I'm headed to the K later this year for a game, and Wrigley is on the radar for probably not 26, but definitely 27.
I think you got to do it.
I do.
So
the whole neighborhood.
It's the one thing about Wrigley is that they've made it better, but they didn't like. The outside of the park is very different than the inside of the park, and I've had conversations with people about this. That annoys me. Like, I wish the outside of the park wasn't so modern with how cathedral type, right? It's a cathedral baseball, how older, and they got the brick and the ivy and the darker tones inside the stadium. I wish they did that outside the stadium. Like, it's a major contrast between the two. It's awesome though. I mean, it's becoming a little bit like Midwest Nashville is the best. I mean, there's just way too many country bars.
Well, but I'll say this: without the foresight 14 years ago, when the Wrigley project was being visioned, had it not happened, right now you would be having the same conversation that the Bears are having, and that's not pretty.
No.
So they had the foresight to do what they did. Credits to the Ricketts family.
They did a great, and that place is now year round. And you can go there year round to Wrigley, which you couldn't if you weren't going to a Cubs game back in the day. Why would you go there?
Well, the alternative is a White Sox fan.
That's a good point. But all right, let's talk about your team. Let's talk about these promotions. You brought in some gifts, some goodies. Let's preview them. You have the Star Wars jersey on. We did that last time. The Star Wars night.
And it's here this Friday.
It's this Friday. You can go ahead. You look at the studio camera here on the Zone YouTube TV page. You have your Jedi garments on. That's like a Jedi robe there. That's awesome. It looks great. We have the Imperial symbol? Are is the away team going to wear an Empire base?
Not non-imperial.
No. Oh,
that's Rebel Alliance.
My bad.
Okay.
All
right. This is a Rebel Alliance.
Sorry, my apologies.
And,
but you look great. You look great. You look good.
You
It's a
know, I
good-looking
think
jersey.
these would be auctioned off this Friday night. Make-A-Wish. 100% of the proceeds go to Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
Friday night, Star Wars night, and our first fireworks show of the year. First fireworks show presented by Warner Enterprises. And come out. Tickets still remaining. OmahaStormChasers.com.
So I'm now wearing a jersey here on the Zone YouTube TV page. It's hot. All right. I love this. And Josh was talking about this. Josh and I were working with each other at the College World Series. And man, the cupcake memorabilia and the donut memorabilia and the sprinkles and the bright colors, the teal, the blue, the yellow, the kids love it nowadays.
cream.
Ice cream. Yeah. Great point. You have a kind of, what is this? Is this spring? This is a sprinkles jersey.
It is
light blue. There's an ice cream cone on my back here.
There is.
This is cool, man. This is great. It's an ice cream cone jersey. You got the waffle on the bottom part, and then on the top part you have powder blue and sprinkles. When are you wearing these?
If you turn around, our sponsor here is Blue Jays Ice Cream and Candy. They're located in Ashland. They've been open about a year and a half. Great partner. They actually have an offshoot of that brand called Primetime Ice Cream that's in Warner Park. So the ice cream craze is crazy right now.
It is. It's
for
big.
Baseball players and softball players of all age. So Blue Jays wanted to lean in. David Dries and his staff and ownership group, they wanted to lean in on that craze. So those will be given away at the gates in July. So we just got these in, wanted to unveil them for the first time.
You're wearing, Matt.
It is. It
is.
And
Is this first time people are seeing this? Are we breaking? We're breaking
we
news
are.
here?
I told you I was going to be breaking things when I came in.
This is incredible. Look at this. All right. So and now I've been looking at this thing the entire time you've been here. You have brought the Storm Chasers Big Grove Brewery Mug Club.
That is a Mug Club bat. So you fill that and you drink it. You get a discount off of every beer you buy by bringing that back each game. And you can go to
ounces?
Not 25. Okay. Not 25. I believe it's 16.
You know what? You need to put on the bottom here. You need to put how many ounces it is. Like it's like 31, you know.
That's
great. Hey, what Mug Club bat did you get? Oh, I got a 32 ounce. What do you got, a 30?
That's a great idea.
Look at that. I should be in your promo. Yeah,
you should be in our promo meeting.
I should.
You should be.
Here's what I love about this Mug Club thing that you give away, right? Yeah, it's okay. You get the baseball bat mug, right? That's in. But you get a home plate holder for your mug. That's cool.
You do.
That's sick.
You can set it down. You don't have to hold it.
That is correct. And it's not one game. You bring that back every game and you get a discount off of every beer you buy for the entire season. The Mug Club is going great this year, and our great partners over at Big Grove.
Not to run you ragged here, but Saturday, Derby Day.
Oh, yes.
Well, now Matt, this is a big day for Matt. Saturday, Derby Day. What are the Chasers doing for Derby Day? There's juleps, I hear.
Mint juleps. There'll be a number of festive things.
Will the players be wearing big hats?
Oh, great question.
Obviously, they will not be wearing big hats.
Will they all be in a different jockey uniform? Will they all be in different colors on the field?
They won't be.
Oh, dang it.
They won't be.
That was a missed opportunity.
There are some things that we are prohibited from doing, and playing all in the same uniforms. I go back to Star Wars night. One year, I wanted us to play in Stormtrooper jerseys.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would have been sick.
And I wanted our manager to wear a Darth Vader jersey.
Yeah.
And then I wanted all of the bench coaches, hitting coach, pitching coach to be in Imperial Commanders jerseys.
Yes.
And we were told, no, you can't do that. That's too creative. So, I've tried to go down that road before, and of course it was going to
they have to be
Star
uniform.
Wars. They have to be uniform.
Right there in the name.
Yeah, that is right there.
They do. But the funny thing is the coaching staff in minor league baseball, they all wear different pullovers and jackets anyway.
Yeah.
So they never look the same as the players on the field.
That's
so,
true.
But I lost that argument.
Maybe you should just make custom pullovers and whatnot. All right. Here's one though. This is going to be the big one.
Yeah, this is the
Runza hats.
The Runza hats are here, and they are now in the team store as of 50 minutes ago when the team store opened today. So this year's 2026 version of the Runza hat is now available.
Look at that thing. That is the detail is kind of crazy.
It
Here,
is.
Josh, I want you to hold this. Look at how thick that patch is.
You know, it is the cleanest traditional baseball Runza hat that we've had yet to date.
Look at it's glowing in the light.
Yeah, you know, there's 15% of the proceeds go to Food Bank for the Heartland for all of our hats and jerseys and T-shirts, and then 100% of the proceeds from the jersey auction on Runza night this year, which is moved up a week. So it's not the first Saturday in June. It'll be the last Saturday in May this year. May 30th is when Runza night is. So make sure you get your tickets.
So Runza night, May 30th. Star Wars night this Friday.
This Friday, yes.
First fireworks show too. First Friday,
this Friday.
Fireworks show. Be big for the Storm Chasers. Any other things before we let you go?
Yeah, there's a national ticket offer that's going on through the 28th, which is tomorrow. We start a homestand tomorrow with a noon 12:05 first pitch, but there is a national $10 ticket going on. Go to milb.com. And there are about a dozen Storm Chasers games for which you can go buy tickets for $10 each. That national ticket offer ends tomorrow. But look, we're home this week. Louisville's in town. The Reds AAA team, their first visit for the year. So we're home tomorrow through Sunday. A lot of great promotions happening. The first night Bark in the Park is this Wednesday night. Looks to be a beautiful night at the ballpark, and there'll be more of them this year, presented by Merck. But tonight, this Wednesday, the first Bark in the Park is Wednesday night.
My first Omaha Storm Chasers game was against the Bats. It's the Louisville Bats.
It was.
What a creative name that is, by the way.
Yeah, you know, for a lot of reasons, but being right down the street from Louisville Slugger.
You know, I know
they've done quite well, and that downtown area is being revitalized in Louisville as we speak, right near the ballpark. A sister DBH team.
I'm telling you right now, I love this mug club because everybody has done the mug cup, or sorry, the beer bat thing. But they do it, we want it big. We want it as big as possible. I like you doing a little bit more of a quaint, smaller.
It's more it's more responsible.
Yeah, realistic. Like I could see myself holding this bat like at a seat, or I could see myself sometimes with those big beer bats. You're like, you got two hands on it. It's really big. It's hard to drink. This is,
consumable.
Nice and easy. Very, very consumable. Marty Cordero.
Yeah, there you go.
Marty Cordero of the Omaha Storm Chasers, the general manager, joining us once a month. We're going to do this once a month on a Monday. So this will be a fun time. Look forward to our future visits and the future gifts. You have gifted this to us. We're gonna hang this up somewhere to the studio.
Gifted it to the studio,
sure.
Matt.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Hope fans, if they haven't made it out, this is as great a week as any. And I just want a special shout out. I know you guys were talking about softball on the way here.
Yeah.
It's great seeing softball do what it's doing in the state. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Creighton with their brand new building. It's awesome to see what's there on campus. And gosh, what's happening just down the street here on Dodge? Off Center, should I say? With UNO softball and Omaha softball, and then of course what's going on with the 40-win team down in Lincoln. It's a great story for softball right now, and let's continue to support, and we'll see what happens with coaches and players and all that. But it's really great to see the surge of softball here in the state right now.
You're the man. We appreciate you. We will talk to you soon. Let's talk racing coming up next here on Middays with Matt on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Soul.
We have the Zone's Derby Draw. I almost called it McMaster's Derby Draw. I'm trying to take full credit for it. It's the Zone's Derby Draw over on 1620thezone.com. But do not forget also about the Peak Playoffs giveaway. You can enter online at 1620thezone.com. And when you enter, you have a chance to win a $250 gift card to Twin Peaks. So go ahead and enter in the Peaks Playoff giveaway. Talking about the Derby real quick, because we said we're going to talk about some racing. There was going to be a favorite in this race. Paladin was probably going to be the guy that everyone was ramping up to beat. He unfortunately got hurt, so it seems like it's a little bit more of an open Derby this year. The names of the favorites, kind of like there's a theme to it a little bit in terms of their names. So Renegade is one of the favorites of the race, and so is Commandment. Is, they're kind of, I don't know, kind of theme, kind of a little familiar with each other. Then we have the Puma, which is one of my favorite horses. It's a Javier Castellano and Gustavo Delgado horse. If you know, you know. And then you ready for this one? A Bob Baffert horse, Potente. That's going to be
what
the
does
one.
That mean? Do you know?
I don't know, actually. I have no idea. That is going to be the one where it's like when they do the "Who are you picking for the Derby?" and they go to all the famous celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
The actors and actresses who don't give a damn about horse racing but want to be on TV. They're going to go Potente because it's fun to say. There's also Golden Tempo, which is a great. There's some pretty high quality. Happer and Schaefer should do that. They should rank the Derby horse names. That'd be a great Happer and Schaefer segment. Not to book their own show.
Okay.
But here's another good one, too.
They need someone to. Joey's out for another day or so.
So Happy is another horse name, along with Further Ado and Pavlovian.
Further Ado, good horse name.
Yeah. How about you? How do you feel about Full Effort?
Brad
Cox.
It's fine. Maybe just on the upper tier.
Tyler Gaffalini he's racing that horse. I think he might have won last year's Derby or whatever, a couple of years ago. Here's another good one. You ready?
Ready.
Incredibolt.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like if Disney was making a horse racing movie, the horse in the movie would be Incredibolt.
Here's going to be the one all the kids pick.
Okay.
Albus.
Albus.
Like Albus Dumbledore.
Oh, okay.
But it's Albus. Now, I love just the stark contrast between some of these names, and like some of them are Wonderdine, and then you have Intrepido, and then you have Albus. But then, you know how I said I love the stark contrast between these horses?
Mm-hmm.
There's a horse named Stark Contrast.
Whoa.
That is the name.
Okay.
It's Stark Contrast, a Michael McCarthy horse. And then these are like the long shots, like one of the longer shots. He's got pretty decent odds. Right to Party.
Now I like that.
Is that a Kansas City horse, you think?
Right to Party?
Right to Party, maybe.
I don't.
6-speed.
6-speed.
He's the pace setter of the race, so he's going to get out like really, really fast.
Oh,
he's going to set the pace, and then he'll fall off and probably not win unless he like puts together a Secretariat type of performance. But Renegade, Commandment, So Happy, the Puma, Potente, Golden Tempo. Those are kind of your.
I still keep coming back to the Puma.
I like the Puma a lot.
Just as a name. I don't know if it's a good horse or not.
I like Javier Castellano riding my horse.
Okay.
That's
it sounds like that's a jockey's name.
Javier Castellano.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who's another? Now here's Renegade is a Todd Pletcher horse ridden by Irad Ortiz Jr. Irad is so good. He's so good. Such a good jockey. Do you remember who we don't bet on? He's the only name on the don't bet list. Come on, the jockey. Come on.
No. I remember there was one though. Do I get credit for that?
Flav. I'm giving it to Flav.
Flavor Flav.
No, Flavor Flav is not riding a horse in the Kentucky Derby.
What? They have Snoop Dogg go to the Olympics.
Yeah, but that's equestrian. That's a different type of horse.
Okay.
Flavian Pratt.
Flavian Pratt.
We don't bet on Flavian
No.
Pratt. We are not a Flavian. We are not a Flavian Pratt family.
No. If that's what I got to do to be part of the family, that's what I'll do.
He's riding emerging market.
I don't love that. It feels like you're trying to get the bets from finance guys.
He's a
who are
brave
gonna be
Italian explorer. In this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. In this house, we don't bet on Flavian Pratt. So that's your we're going through the names of the Kentucky Chief Wallaby.
I like that. That's a fine horse name.
Not a very good horse.
But also it sounds like it's not a very good
No,
horse.
I watch Chief Wallaby. He's not very good. I don't know. I'm like, my first gut instinct is the Puma, but don't forget about my Japanese thoroughbred, the non-bourbon.
I
got a shot.
That horse keeps creeping up in the things I'm reading.
She's got a shot.
Is that the name of a horse? She's got a shot.
Oh, that would be a great. We should come up with our own horse names.
Oh, and we could do like, is this a made-up horse name or a horse in this year's Derby?
Okay. You know what? Is it a made? Because we already did all. All right, we're going to do this tomorrow. We're going to do is this a former Kentucky Derby winner? Or is this a Matt and Josh made-up horse name?
There it is.
Okay. 2 for $1. That sounds like an awesome horse name.
Yeah.
1 for the road.
That was a Derby winner, right?
I don't know.
Oh.
Mind That Bird.
That was a Derby winner.
God. Mind that. That was my first Derby winner. The first one I really remember.
Baby's first Derby winner.
Baby's first Derby winner was Mind That Bird. And for whatever reason, Mind That Bird and Phil Mickelson are the same thing to me because Phil Mickelson was my first Masters winner.
Oh.
Like when he won it in what? 2010 or 2011? Mm-hmm. That was like the first Masters I remember. That Masters and Bubba's Masters were the two Masters I really were like.
If you won it in 10.
That was the first one.
You nailed it.
The first Super Bowl I remembered was Arizona, Pittsburgh.
Whoa.
That was like I guess the Bears.
No, that's fine.
The Bears Colt. But the one I really remember sitting down and watching was that one. First finals was Orlando, LA.
Oh, Disney World versus Disneyland.
Yeah.
Yes. Dwight Howard.
Was that 09? Because I would play NBA 2K10 and you would do like a fantasy draft where you draft all the players, and Dwight Howard was always the number 1 overall pick.
You're very good at years. That was 2009.
Yeah. That was 9. That year, 2009, it was what? Who played? Wait, 2009 was Pittsburgh versus Detroit in the Stanley Cup final. That was my second Stanley Cup final I remember. The first Stanley Cup final I remember was 2008 when it was Pittsburgh-Detroit, but Detroit won that one.
Yep.
Detroit won that one.
You've gotten everything right over the last 30 seconds.
And what? The Phillies won in 08. Who did the Phillies beat in 08? Was it Tampa? See, this is baseball.
I think you are.
Tampa?
You are
was
correct.
Was it the Tampa World Series?
You
was
are
the 08 one? I'm good there. And then for whatever reason, though, I have more trouble telling you what happened in 2022 than I have telling you what happened in 2008, 2009, and 2010. 2022, I would have to really sit down and think.
Matt, you just strung all of these together from 2008, 2009. Over the weekend, I misidentified members of my own family.
Okay, are you going to be that father where your son is going to come up to you and he's going to go, Jake's coming over, and you're going to go, who's Jake? And you've met Jake, you've driven Jake, you've known Jake, basically Jake's entire life. But yet, when you're just a simple thing of Jake coming over to your house to hang out with your son, are you going to be the father that goes, who's that every time?
Matt, 5 years ago, I would have guaranteed with absolute certainty I would not be that father. I cannot make that guarantee right now.
My dad.
It might be coming.
My dad, too. I go, Joe's coming over. Who's Joe? You were at his first communion, okay? What do you mean, who's Joe? Joe has come over to this house basically 20 times a year for the last 13 years. What do you mean, who's Joe?
Now, I feel like at that point, I would learn the name.
It's just, I think, an instinct at this point for Dad to just be like,
I don't.
Who's that? Who's Matt?
Just feels like information I don't need to keep.
See, the nice thing is that we had a Thanksgiving football game every single year, right? And so my point of reference for almost everybody to Dad was, you go, who's that? I go, he came to the Thanksgiving football game last year. And for whatever reason, he remembers those people.
Okay.
So I go, he played last year. He goes, oh yeah, good kid. Goes to Dayton, right? Goes to Dayton. I'm like, how do you remember that, but you don't remember this guy's name? This is ridiculous. But we'll do that. We'll do that tomorrow.
I get it.
Do that. I don't.
I can't explain to you how or why, but I get it.
Like that's like I had in 08, it was 08 was Celtics Lakers, and then it was Red Wings Pittsburgh Pirates, and then it was and then the 08 Super Bowl would have been, isn't that that's the oh no, the 08 Super Bowl. That's not the Giants, is it?
It is.
Yeah, that is the Giants. Giants Patriots. Look at that. Remember
David Tyree.
But if you told me 2022 who played in the Stanley Cup final, I would be like, probably Dallas. See, Corey Perry was probably in that. He was probably playing in that final.
It was Avalanche Lightning.
Yeah. Forgettable. It was Dallas Lightning a couple years before. All right, let's talk about real quick before we get to Robin Washer coming up at 1:20. We're going to talk some stadium stuff with him along with some basketball. I have a fascination with individual sports, right? We talk a lot of team sports. We talk a lot of, pro sports and college sports and, sports that involves a large group of people coming together to get something done. But I've always had a fascination with individual sports. I don't know, can't tell you why, but I've just always been, there was something encapsulating. I love the UFC. Like, I love boxing. I really enjoy watching Wimbledon, and big tennis events and big golf tournaments. And I've always, I don't know what it is about. I'll tell you what it really is. Having a superstar in an individual sport is so hard. And it's so hard because it's organic, right? You can't force these things. Dana White can't say, I want this guy to be my superstar in the UFC, because that guy, what happens when he loses a fight? The UFC can help people out, right? They can give them favorable matchups, maybe put them on big cards, make sure that they're in main events. But if they lose their fights, it's done. It's over. Same thing in golf, right? Think of all the golfers recently that was like, hey, you thought they were going to be the next guy or they were going to be a true superstar. Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, and they just didn't end up winning enough. And if you really delve in deep to like fighting, there are so many guys who win all the time, who won championships and were undefeated and were awesome in the UFC, but they didn't have the personality. And there are guys who, and women as well, who have the personality, but they don't win enough. And there are some people who win enough, but they don't have the personality. And so the threading the needle of being entertaining and easy to root for while also winning all the time is so difficult. And I think that, obviously Rory winning the last two Masters, he's back on that, being that guy who he has a personality and he's won a lot, but it feels like it's been a minute since we've had that true national superstar Conor McGregor type, right? And I want to bring this up just because NASCAR has been, kind of in the national news a little bit with Michael Jordan and his team having a great amount of success yesterday, or over the last couple of weeks and whatnot. And, there's been a lot of attention and watching, NASCAR this season and the new playoff format and all that stuff. But I'm going to tell you something right now. NASCAR yesterday, something great happened for their sport. Carson Hocevar, remember the name. He drives the number 77 car in NASCAR. He won his first race of his career in the Cup Series yesterday. And that guy is the next individual sports superstar. He is talented. He is a fast driver. He's aggressive. And he's got a polarizing personality. He is the quintessential Gen Z superstar. He might be one of the first true Gen Z type superstars we have in sports because he's tall. He's kind of awkward.
Okay.
He likes video games.
Okay.
Right? He likes hanging out with his buddies.
Gen Z hates driving.
He's not that's a good point. He's not your stereotypical, beer drinking, NASCAR, tavern style guy. He is young, he's hip, he's with the times. People love it. And there are a lot of old men who race against him, who can't stand him. All right. He's a little Jeff Gordon-y in that regard, where he's just this young gun who does what he wants, says what he wants, drive like he wants to drive.
A little punchable.
And kind of punky. And that's the point. People hate him. But there's a segment of young fans that love him because he doesn't give a damn. He does not care. And he's got
Is he the bad boy of NASCAR?
A little bit, yeah. Okay. But he's a troll. Like he's not like cool bad boy. He's like Gen Z troll bad boy.
Is he picking fights in pit row?
Well, he gets into crashes and people are like, why don't you apologize? And he goes, why don't they get out of the way? I won't crash into you if you drive faster. Like that's
that's going to turn some people off.
He does not. No one likes him. None of the NASCAR drivers like him, but all the fans love him because he loves the fans and he's a true showman. If you look at it, if you haven't seen it, it was one of the best celebrations after winning a race. He got out of the window of his car and he was sitting up on like kind of near the hood, and he was just driving his car while having his whole body outside of it and celebrating with the fans. And he's just a showman. The guy is a true showman. He is a polarizing dude. He garners a ton of attention, but more importantly, he's great. He's just great. This is a great driver. And so NASCAR needs someone like that. Like NASCAR needs a superstar like that. Like NASCAR needs a mainstream.
Yeah, when you're having trouble breaking out, you need a guy that, for better or worse, people react to, right?
Conor McGregor is the greatest UFC fighter of all time in terms of his importance to the product. The UFC went to a completely different stratosphere because of Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is not the greatest striker of all time. He's not the greatest wrestler of all time. He's not the greatest MMA fighter of all time. Okay. Conor McGregor may not even be in the top 10 of greatest UFC fighters of all time. He is the most important, bar none.
He is the fighter that got me to watch UFC.
He is the most important guy in that company's history because of how much attention he brought to the sport, and because he was you could not take your eyes off the TV when you saw that guy fight.
And I struggle watching it now because I'm just like, none of these people are interesting.
Guys.
And if they are interesting, it's clearly like I'm going out and doing the pro wrestling thing where I'm gonna say something and you're gonna hate it.
The fighting quality in the UFC has never been better. The fighting quality is insane.
Mm-hmm.
It has a superstar problem.
Mm-hmm.
It has a mainstream superstar problem. And that's why I love individual sports, because you can't manufacture this crap, man. This has to happen organically. You have to, what did you use? What was the adjective you used? Interesting. You have to be interesting and you have to win. Carson Hocevar is fascinating. Fascinating. And he won his first race at Talladega. It's a hell of an accomplishment. So I want to put that out in the atmosphere. I want to give some love to some athletes that we may not get a ton of love to. What is getting a ton of love and attention is the stadium project. What Troy Dan had said about it. Save the troughs, damn it. You cowards. Getting rid of our troughs. We should have had a funeral for the troughs today.
We still can, by the way. We can do that whenever you want.
Amazing trough. How sweet the sound when my piss hits the metal. You once were in South Stadium, but now we tear it down.
That was lovely.
Robin, wash it. Husker in line and on 3.
Thank you for your strength.
Coming up next, here on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Alrighty, we are in the middle of a fun show here today. Don't forget to go to 1620thezone.com and enter into the Peak Playoffs giveaway. Watch the NBA, NHL playoffs, the finals, and even the FIFA World Cup still while enjoying great food, drinks, and atmosphere. All of that at Twin Peaks. You can enter in at 1620thezone.com. We bring in from Husker Online and On 3, Mr. Robin Washit. Robin, how are you, brother?
What's happening?
Nothing much. Just talking about the draft. How do you like your Giants? How do you think your football team did?
It was okay. Getting Reese at 5 was unexpected.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where like they could have taken about 7 different positions and they'd all be positions of need. So
Good point.
as long as he's playing off the ball as a linebacker, I'm okay with it. But probably rush end specifically wasn't the top position that we needed to address, but I think they view him more as an actual linebacker, so I can get behind it. I was really hoping for Downs at 10, but they had to address one of the other big weaknesses, which is our offensive line. So I guess I'll give him a pass on that. I just can't help myself but getting visions of Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal. We drafted both in the top 10 not too long ago with that rush and all-line combo, but in Harbaugh, we trust.
In Harbaugh, you do trust. I thought it was going to be Downs at 10, just because like everywhere Harbaugh's gone, the linebacking core is always. I mean, obviously the Hall of Famers, but very sneakily, and maybe from some perspectives, not so sneakily, but he's always had a great safety. Always had a great safety in his time at Baltimore. So I thought that would be the case. But hey, you gotta win through the trenches, and that's exactly what your team is trying to do. And you got to build around your young quarterback. So. I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah, for a guy that got cussed like 7 times last year, keeping Jackson Dart upright is probably a good priority.
That's a great point. Talking about priorities, the Nebraska Big Red rebuild of Memorial Stadium. The renderings are out, the videos are out. We have some more details. They have a great website where it kind of just breaks down everything that they're doing. Your biggest takeaway from just what you've seen and what they're going to add: a couple new clubs in West Stadium, different entrance points, bigger entrance points. They're going to be reseating. I know that's going to cause a lot of conversation. Just some of your takeaways from Dannon's conversation about it at his press conference, and just what the layout currently is looking like.
Yeah, I get it. It's a necessity. The fan experience part of it. It's one thing to sell bleacher seating with incredibly long bathroom lines and limited selection of concessions and all that sort of stuff when you're winning, but when you're been what Nebraska's been for the last 20 years, like that's just becoming a harder and harder sell. And it's not just a Nebraska thing. Like this is sports in general. Getting people to come to games is hard. Just because of the way that TV has kind of changed the viewing experience, and all the different ways that you can take in sporting events now beyond just having to go there. You got to incentivize fans that this isn't going to be a miserable experience. So like adding things like more modern restrooms and a wider variety of maybe hopefully more affordable concessions, and just an easier more comfortable experience at your seat with chair backs, and having more big screens where you can see replays, and all those things that can help prevent things that deter fans from coming to games. And so that's again, they were able to put it off for a long time just because Nebraska fans are going to show up. But I think just with the way that the shift is happening with just sports in general, and having to really try to convince people and incentivize people to come to games, these are the types of things you have to do. And especially so when they're trying to utilize Memorial Stadium more than just home football games. If they're going to do these big concerts and do these like kind of multi-purpose events, you've got to have a stadium that's equipped for it. And right now, a big chunk of that stadium is not equipped to do the things that Nebraska wants to do. So it's a big investment. The sticker is a huge chunk of change, but I think the hope is by doing that, it allows you an opportunity to do more with the stadium, big ticket events like concerts and Savannah Bananas and all that stuff to help make Memorial Stadium more of a revenue generator for the athletic department, university, and so on than what it already is.
Big deal, kind of a deal, no deal. Emmett Johnson being the only player drafted off of the Nebraska football team this season.
I think it's a huge deal. I mean, there's no bigger indictment on what Nebraska football has been than just looking at the draft numbers for, the last 15 whatever years, 10 years. It's pretty startling, especially when you compare it to not just like the Ohio States, Oregons of your own conference, but look at their numbers compared to Iowa right now. Like it's pretty staggering, like the lack of development that's happening within Nebraska's football program, where you're getting recruits that on paper are 4- and 5-star guys, and either they're not finishing their career at Nebraska or they're not getting any better, and they're not taking that jump to become bona fide, NFL players that get drafted, not just, late round day 3 picks, but first and second rounders. Like that's the gap in producing that level of talent, to me, is as big as anything as to why Nebraska football is where it is right now and why it's been at this spot for a long time now. It's like guys, I don't know if it's a matter of there's not good enough players. The recruiting profiles they're bringing in seem to suggest that they are. But what's happening by the time that they first arrive on campus and when they leave, very few of those guys are getting to the point where, they're becoming, bona fide NFL prospects. And it's not just one thing, because it's been happening for over multiple coaching staffs now. But until that trend starts to reverse, Nebraska, will continue to flounder when it comes to competing at a legitimate championship level. Because, I mean, when you got guys like Ryan Day saying that if you're not a first or second round draft pick, you probably shouldn't come to Ohio State, where Nebraska is lucky to get one guy drafted over 7 rounds. Like that's a problem. And, until that trend starts to correct a little bit, Nebraska is going to be in this spot that they've been in for far too long.
You and I have had these conversations before about, there are some stories of walk-ons and guys coming on and you didn't think they'd be super, impactful, and they end up starting. And, those stories are great, but you win games with dudes, right? like, some of these, perseverance stories are awesome, but at the same time, you just need guys. You just need to get some guys. And it just seems like they haven't been able to get them at a high enough rate. And your point, Robin, even when they do get them, they don't turn out to be what you thought they could be. And there definitely are already examples of that from this, administration of Matt Rule. And on top of that, like if you go and Brett Cianci of Pick Six Previews does a phenomenal job of, he takes what your recruiting ranking was and then what your draft picks became. And Nebraska is always at the bottom or near the bottom of that chart because of what you mentioned, not being able to get guys in the draft. And I'm sorry, Matt Rule was brought to Nebraska in part because of his ability to do that. And you're right. I mean, it's very disappointing that 3 years in, you only have one draft pick. I'll tell you, everyone talks about the ranked, not being a ranked team in X amount of time over 10 years. Like that's a really tough look. Robin, what if I told you that Nebraska football hasn't had a top 50 NFL draft pick since 2011? Top 50.
Yeah, top 50. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what you're dealing with right now. And that's, again, like you can talk about, the recruiting rankings and all that stuff, but like the development needs to start happening.
Yeah.
Like, they've gotten players that are good enough. They've got players that go on to other schools and become great players. Like it's not just, they're missing on guys. Like players are coming here that should be ending their college careers at a much higher level than where they're ending them, at least when it comes to their tenure at Nebraska. And again, it's Matt Rule is has certainly kind of become part of that, but that goes back to Frost, it goes back to Riley. Really, like you're talking about, Bo Pelini being the last guy that's developed players of that caliber on a even remotely consistent basis. And so, like that's a real issue, and I don't know what the solution is, because they've got all the resources as far as the sports science, the medicine, the weight training, all the football facilities that are there in place to develop those types of players. So, where's the disconnect happening? Are they being treated too well and they, kind of take their foot off the gas? Is the coaching staff not doing a good job? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, because it's not just an isolated deal where, one staff's not developing players. It's multiple staffs now with a lot of resources being dumped in across, these three last regimes, and the NFL numbers still kind of are what they are. And that's a big concern if I'm looking at the future of Nebraska football.
Well, another thing too is that you got to keep your head on the swivel and see where this NFL talent is coming from. It's a Josh Odson stat. I want to give Josh a ton of credit here because he told me this off the air. Iowa Western, the Reavers, 6 draft picks coming from Iowa Western in this NFL draft. It's the most draft picks of all time from a JUCO in one singular draft. And yet, Nebraska, that just has not been a place that they've been grabbing talent from. And, to your point, Robin, Wan'Dale Robinson, Nate Borgature, and Luke McCaffrey, all second-round draft picks who were at Nebraska, went to a different school, and then found success and were able to be drafted higher than, all of Nebraska's picks essentially. So it's quite the development and definitely quite something that we got to keep an eye on. Talking about things we got to keep an eye on. Where are we at in your opinion with the Jamarcus Lawrence situation? And can I proffer you a just quick question? You can slap it out of the air and tell me I'm crazy if you think I'm off base here, but think there's an opportunity that maybe J-Law comes back and he comes off the bench. Could that be something they do with maybe Lenhart in the starting lineup, and then J-Law is the guy who kind of keeps things afloat off the bench, and maybe that kind of scoring Frager role, or do you think that if he comes back, he's just business as usual, back to being the starting point guard?
It's hard to say right now because they brought in Lenhart to start, and they've been kind of setting the table for Braden Frager to come in and be a starter. After last year and being sixth man of the year, he certainly earned that opportunity. And then Price is coming back, so I mean that right there is 3 pieces of your backcourt, and you've got Sam Orm and you've got Capkey coming in. So that's your 5 as it stands right now. But then if you throw Jamarcus back into the fold, you've got a guy that started for 2 NCAA tournament teams. He's got a resume in his own right. So I don't know. I guess that's a good problem to have if that's kind of what you're looking at. They also brought in the kid from San Diego State who, and he's a depth piece, but he factors into that equation as well. So there's only so many minutes that you can play. So somebody's going to have to come off the bench. And I guess, I think Jamarcus, kind of where he is in this point of his career, would hopefully kind of understand the situation. He's had pretty honest conversations with Fred Hoiberg that, Fred's told him straight up, until this rule passes, we are going to recruit and assemble this roster as if you're not going to be here. Because it was 2 years ago, 2 off seasons ago, where the 5-for-5 rule was, it's been floating around for a long time. This isn't the first year this has really come to the table. And there was 2 off seasons ago where they were talking about how it was right on the goal line of getting passed, and Nebraska was like, "Hey, Andrew Morgan, if this thing passes, you're ready to come back." And he was all set to come back. They kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never happened.
Yeah.
And so then they were kind of left scrambling, trying to fill his spot. And for him too, he's a little different. In fact, I don't know how serious his pro ambitions were, but he kind of put all those on hold as well. So it's the school is taking a risk, saving a spot, and kind of planning its roster and rotation around the NCAA, taking action, which is always a gamble.
Yeah.
And then, the players also taking a risk too. So as far as his chances of coming back, I mean, if it happened today or tomorrow, he's back. There's no doubt about it. And Nebraska would welcome him with open arms and figure out a way, a starter or not, for him to play a significant role in next year's rotation. But at the same time, Jamarcus, he's got NBA Summer League goals, and he wants to try to, not only make an NBA roster, but, get those auditions to potentially earn himself an international contract somewhere. So for that to happen, he's kind of got to turn the page mode probably by the end of May. So we're looking at maybe another month or so of kind of waiting. That's kind of, I would probably put that as probably the deadline for Jamarcus, and probably a lot of these other 4-year seniors that are just kind of waiting. the hope is that it happens sooner than that.
Sure.
And, everyone can proceed accordingly. But just the unknowns and confusion right now, it just makes it a really difficult thing to bank on, especially the fact that, schools like Nebraska and Andrew Morgan have already been down this road before and aren't going to leave themselves vulnerable to getting left in the dust in case it doesn't pass.
Robin Washington of Husker Online and On 3. You're the man, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on every Monday, talking all things Husker sports here on Middays with Matt.
You got it. Talk to you next week.
See you, Robin. 13 players out of the state of Iowa were drafted. 7 of them from the University of Iowa. 6 of them were former Iowa Western Reavers.
One of them was Caden Weegan, who was both.
Double up, baby. Double up. Caden Weegan, 1 man, 2 draft picks.
Yeah.
Stud.
So it's only 12 people.
But 13 picks. Still, 13 picks. I don't know, man. I'm now going down the rabbit hole of Nebraska draft pick lore.
It's been bad for a long time. This isn't like,
no.
This
is not. This is not a new thing. This is not just a Matt Rule problem, but it is a Matt Rule problem
when you come out there and say you're Mr. Developer.
3 years, 3 draft picks. Fedoni, 219, round 7. Robinson, round 4, 111. Johnson, round 5, 161. Now, Emmett's a way better player than 161. I mean, he slid. Unfortunately, when you run a 4.5, 640 at the combine, I know it was better at the pro day, but still, it's just clearly, I think some scouts were worried about the breakaway speed and will that be able to translate? I think it will. I think Emmett's going to be a weapon for Kansas City for years to come. And with Bieniemy there now too, where you got Bieniemy and Reed back together. And I will say this, Eric Bieniemy, yes, is the offensive coordinator, but he's a damn good running backs coach. He knows how to coach running backs. And I know that because he did that last year with Kyle Monungai, 7th round pick out of Rutgers, made him way better for the Bears. All right, we got to hit a break and do a quick what to watch. Coming up next here on 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Don't you hate it when you say I love you and they don't say it back?
Oh, it's terrifying.
Isn't it the worst when you go, I love you, and they don't say I love you back? Turn on his microphone. I love you.
Matt McCranky, I love you too.
Thank you. See, that's what we want. Josh Hodson, what are we watching tonight?
We're going to watch NBA playoffs. Pistons Magic, 7 o'clock on NBC. Did you know the Orlando Magic have a 2-1 lead?
Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic.
Thunder look to sweep Jacob Padilla's Suns tonight at 8:30 on Peacock. Wolves and Nuggets in the Mile High City at 9:30 on NBC. Wolves lead that series 3-1. There will be no Anthony Edwards tonight for the Wolves or for the next few weeks if they continue playing. Jokic tried to start a fight this week. I don't have all the details of that.
He's always trying to start a fight.
Yeah,
it's
him and his brothers.
Breaking. Sky is blue.
Yes.
Breaking.
Pair of hockey games on tonight. Flyers look to eliminate the Penguins. They're up 3-1. That game on ESPN at 6 o'clock in Pittsburgh. And then the Utah Mammoth out to a hot start. They're up 2-1 on the Vegas Golden Knights, 8:30 on ESPN. One baseball game on tonight on FS1, 5:10 first pitch for Rays and Guards in Cleveland.
I have a dog of the day, and then I have a hot take.
Ooh, a dog.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
All right. So prediction first. The Anaheim Ducks are up 3-1 against the Edmonton Oilers.
Wild.
That's
Not the Minnesota Wild. Like, that's wild.
That series, Ducks Oilers, that series will go to 7.
Okay.
There will be a game 7 in that series.
Makes sense. They have similar records, but obviously you would think the Oilers are better.
I don't know who's going to win the series,
Okay.
but I'm saying it's going to 7. Number 2, we're going with the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, plus 122 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a gentleman's sweep.
There was a fight in that.
Okay, I'm going to be real. I'm not a casual here. Watched playoff hockey my entire life. There's a lot of fighting going on, like even more for hockey standard. There's a lot more.
Normally that tapers off in the playoffs, right? Because
it gets amped and it goes. There's waves of it, but like we are really in on the fighting in this playoffs.
Would it make sense that both the Pennsylvania teams are fighting each other because they're familiar with each other?
Probably.
Okay.
But I love that in hockey, like a referee could grab a player by their shoulders with both hands and push them up against the glass to stop them from fighting.
I do like that.
And that is par for the course. Or I will say, because I've been in a couple of those scrums, it is a dance of like, I want to get to Josh, but I have to carefully maneuver around the referee.
Can't hit this ref.
And I can't hit him and I can't pull him, but I kind of have to like shimmy around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just, bang. It's always fun. Hockey is better than the sport you love the most. There, I said it.
Oh.
I also said the crossover's coming up next with Unsportsmanlike Conduct here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.